Hello, friends. How's it going?
Hey.
Right on time. Ish. Okay. Mike, let's just check the sound here. Let's see.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now.
Okay, you hear that? They hear that. I got your rundown here. Okay.
I need to. Gosh, there's this bird. It's like 2 days ago. I don't know what it's doing.
It hitting your window?
Yeah, it keeps tapping. It's that sliding door keeps tapping it. And
It's
I go out there.
Can I come
and
in?
There's just so much bird shit there, and I always see it like go away. And I'm like trying to is it building a nest or something? I don't know. It's just over there shitting and pecking on my window. It's like one of my enemies has been reincarnated into this bird or something. Like I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who died.
It's the part. It's the part of me that died from doing this podcast with you.
There it is. Jeff the bird is not just shitting on my porch and tapping my window randomly.
At least it's not like building a nest in your house in like one of the vents or something. If it's shitting outside, you're probably okay. That's something.
I hope so.
All right.
I don't know what the hell it's doing.
Let me bring up the video and fix this real quick, and then we'll be good to go, I suppose. Let me
see if the question's open. Tell me something, Jeff. How's it feel knowing you're second best?
That's just actually untrue.
Compared to me.
That's just. I think we believe that we have
I'll
video
get mad
evidence.
And go do a Twitter spree.
Well, that's gonna happen eventually, no matter what. Everyone's mad at Gene for going on Colin's show, Mike. Colin Moriarty's show.
I saw that he did that, and my ears perked a bit.
That's kind of all I did too. It's kind of like,
yeah. I just perked my bit. I was like, but whatever.
Gene is uncancelable in my opinion.
Yeah, you could go do what he wants. If he wants to go do the show, whatever. Look, I actually don't think very much about Colin Moriarty, and that includes getting upset about him. To be honest,
like, yeah, I'm definitely like, right, yeah, I'm kind of over it too. Like he's
whatever.
like he's just created his own little thing over there, and it's not really actually doing much anymore in terms of like interacting with everybody else. Mike, I believe I'm ready. Yeah, I believe I'm ready. I'm looking at, so yes, super chats are starting to come in. The rundown's in front of me. We've tested the audio. Should I do the countdown and get going?
Let's do that.
All right. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now. Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, Shigeru Miyamoto personally delays the Mario movie. We're going to talk about the Super Nintendo games that we won on NSO the most, and there's other fun things happening. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going okay. You know what? I'm lying. I worked out. I worked out with my wife on Saturday. She's worked out almost every single day since the pandemic began.
Oh, wow.
So I've been like, I'm definitely gonna try to get on some of this. The last few Saturdays I've been working out with her when she's been doing the weight training stuff, and I did some like hammer curls, and now this is as much as I can bend this arm. Right, it stops right there. Oh, it doesn't go. I can't make it straight. It hurts all through here.
Well, it sounds to me like your wife is getting super fit, and you're just more of a slob than ever.
More of a slob than ever. I think it's a very refined way of putting it. It's yes, I'm basically just turning into more of a round ball while she becomes fitter than ever. Absolutely. But hey, I tried, and now I'm in physical pain. So
there you go. Well, the more you do it, the less pain you'll be in.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole idea, right? Well, I guess I'm taking another rest day today, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Jeff, am I coming in on the wrong mic? TurboSean says I sound funky.
I'm not good at this.
I always hope that Jeff will tell me something's wrong, but he just thinks, Mike sounds right.
Mike, tap your microphone. Let's just do it. That's it. Is it just far away?
You know what? That's what it is. I always move it, and I didn't because I'm an idiot.
So yeah, so let's talk about it.
This.
Let's talk about it. That's a super cardioid mic. Its pickup pattern is literally like right in front of it, and anything out of there.
I usually move it, Jeff. I forgot.
All right. Okay. Cool. I mean, listen. I
forgot. It was my fault. You know what? I deserve it. I blamed you immediately.
It's a mile away. That's what it was.
Yeah, I do put it there when I'm streaming because it's like.
It sounds great now. Now it sounds perfect. Okay.
Sorry. Well,
all right. Yep.
Thank you, Turbo Sean.
Oh, I'm in pain, but at least I get to deal with Mike Minotti during a podcast. That's always going to perk me right back up.
I'm tired of listening about your broken body anyways. Let's get to this news.
Yeah, let's do it.
First thing here. So this is not Miyamoto, but he did announce that him and Chris Son had a secret meeting, and they have delayed the Mario movie to April 7th, 2023. When was that supposed to come out? Like this holiday season?
Yeah, right? Yeah, that sounds right. Like later, like not this summer, but like this holiday season, yeah.
So that's interesting, Jeff. Movie delays like this are typically rarer than, say, a game delay, at least when it's not pandemic related. And this isn't really pandemic related, as far as we can tell. So
other than the pandemic that is Sonic 2, just tearing up the charts, putting the fear of God into Miyamoto.
Well, it is pretty funny that this is basically this is almost right around when Sonic 2 came out, right? Early April. So they're just taking that time slot for 2023 now. So we don't know, why is it delayed? Is there a story problem? There are story problems with animated movies all the time. Animated movies, it's like video games. You say this, that games aren't fun until like the last month. Sometimes these movies just do not come together until the very end. Maybe it's not coming together. Maybe it's just something more technical than that. Maybe they literally just need more time to animate things. Maybe they've recast Chris Pratt. Maybe they got it. Like, this actually is bad, and everybody is expecting it to be bad. And if it actually is bad, they're just going to shit all over us. Maybe they're very tactfully re-recording all that. Probably not. I don't know what this could be. It could be a lot of things.
Like Miyamoto opened up like his Bing browser, and a story about Chris Pratt being kind of problematic popped up, and he's like, "Wait, I thought Chris Pratt was so cool."
Hollywood star, Guardian Galaxy, Jurassic World. What? So. There's a lot about this word. Are you surprised how personally invested Miyamoto is in this movie and involved with it? Like, he's the one announcing the delays. He's the one revealing the cast recording. I guess part of that is his reaction to that live action movie that he absolutely hated. Yeah. But it doesn't seem to just be lip service. It seems like he actually is super involved.
Yeah, I guess I'm actually not too surprised because where is he at in terms of his career, right? Where he has completely done everything he can in video games. It's not like he's just done everything he can do. He's already also trained the next generation of people taking over all of his characters at Nintendo. He's definitely in this emeritus role at Nintendo in terms of overseeing everything, and movies is sort of a new field for him where he can stretch his creative abilities. He was always an artist first, and he became a designer very quickly. But the creativity that turned him from artist into game designer is probably the same. There's probably a lot of similar bones there from being an artist to a story designer and trying to think how to flex those characters on a movie screen. So I'm not too surprised that now that he has this opportunity, and Nintendo is being very serious about trying to get we heard Reggie talking about it today on our panel at GamesBeat, the GamesBeat Summit. Nintendo wants to be an all part of your lives. Well, as they take that very seriously, Miyamoto wanting to also personally take that very, very seriously isn't surprising at all to me. It makes a lot of sense. What do you think? It is kind of him tweeting about it, him working directly, forging this friendship with Chris Son from Illumination Studio is it is quirky, but it also strikes me as something that of course Miyamoto is taking this approach to it.
Yeah, it seems to be one of his big areas of focus these days, right? I'm sure he's probably more invested in what is happening with this and the theme parks than he is in, say, the Switch 2 even, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe part of it is him thinking about legacy, right? And maybe that's why he kind of, he introduces himself so often as Mario's father, right?
Yeah.
He maybe wants a little bit of that Walt Disney shine, which, hey, he's earned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mac Roberts says in chat actually, and this might be true, that Universal pushed Puss in Boots, that new Puss in Boots movie, back to Mario's old date. So Mario just got moved. So it might just be some shuffling, Jeff. It may be nothing more than that, even.
Right. It could totally come from the Illumination side and them saying, listen, this is actually probably a better date for you guys anyhow, and we're moving other stuff around from some of our other partners. This will give it extra time. Like, that can't hurt. Miyamoto, hey, you ever heard this one? A bad movie is bad forever, but a delayed movie, and then he shuts, and then he like punches him in the face because Miyamoto's heard it a million times now. Yeah. Are you sad that he specified it was Chris San from Illumination Studios instead of just saying Chris San, so that we could believe he was talking to Chris Pratt about it?
That'd be
After
funny,
talking to my good friend Chris Pratt, I've decided to delay the movie.
The movie was only came down to Chris Pratt and Shigeru Miyamoto. Like, at some point, Shigeru Miyamoto and Chris Pratt must have a conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just weird to think about.
Chris Pratt actually speaks perfect Japanese, so it's
yes, little known fact.
Yeah.
It is funny that the Sonic 2 movie is such a big hit that, like, I don't actually think that it has anything to do with this delay, but, like, we could think about it. Maybe. I think it's, I like that Sonic 2 is, the Sonic the Hedgehog is now a more viable film franchise than Harry Potter. That's a funny world to live in.
Yes, man. I'm glad. You know what? It's a funny world, but I think it's a better world, actually.
It's a better world, actually.
Yeah,
there aren't any slaves in Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I guess, to be clear, Dr. Robotnik enslaves animals, but at least the bad guy.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole, like, problem with the world that he's trying to solve. Exactly. That's exactly
not a plot where Tails is like, maybe we shouldn't have slaves. And Sonic's like, oh, come on, Tails. Obviously, it's okay for us to have slaves.
Oh, Jesus,
man. We're the good guys.
Oh, God. Oh, man. I haven't seen this new Sonic 2 movie. I really want to, though. Yeah.
Kids, I like it. Kids really like it. It's
yes, that's what it seems like.
Kids. Okay, you brought it up. Let's talk about that a little bit. Reggie was at our keynote event this today. We were doing our Games Beat Summit 2022 right now, which is usually more of like an industry-focused thing. But Reggie was there, and that was exciting. He was our keynote speaker, and he kind of got asked a lot of questions more so about the future in the industry and disruptors, and less about his his time at Nintendo. But there were some fun nuggets there. Like, he talked about, learning from failures like the Wii U to make the Switch, and I didn't know this. Apparently, he wanted the 3DS to be $50 cheaper when it launched at $200, and he kind of lost that argument with Iwata. So it came out at $250, and then eventually they had to drop the price to $170 to sort of get it back on track. So that was interesting. Jeff, you listened to this, right?
I was listening to parts of it here and there as I could. But the stuff that stood out to me was just like, kind of him talking about a lot of the stuff you would expect. Like, he's more tuned in still to gaming than I thought he might be. Like, he's like definitely keeping his finger on the pulse. He talked about like Game Pass and stuff like that. I think he also like even like was mentioning the play date and stuff like that. I think he
called the play date a gimmick, Jeff.
Yes, I thought that. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's a slight mischaracterization because it's not trying to portray itself as anything but a gimmick. Like,
I think he may not just be fully. Yeah, he may not be super aware of what that even is. He was a bit more bullish on the Steam Deck, but he also thinks that it's
expensive, which I disagree with too. Actually,
well, I think he doesn't mean expensive in terms. He said for what it is, which probably isn't the right way to characterize it.
I think you might be right.
For what it is internally, it's probably a very good price. It's expensive in terms of being able to reach a mass market.
Yes.
Which isn't their concern anyways. They can't make enough for them right now for whatever market they can reach.
Right.
But sure, at some point there's going to need to be a $300 Steam Deck or even a $400, I don't know, something.
It is $400 right now,
that's
actually.
Right. That's why I went back on it, because I realized I just sounded like an idiot. $300. I don't know. I think the Steam Deck's going to be fine.
I think if that $400 one could get into stores this holiday, it'll be very successful. But still, regardless, but like, getting back to like Reggie's points on stuff, like, I mean, he talked a lot about like how what disruption is to come. He doesn't think any company is necessarily going to continue coasting on the exact same strengths that they've always had. He even talked about Sony going out and getting Bungie, and how like, oh yeah, they have the story stuff, so they want to get live service stuff. Like, it's all the stuff that kind of makes sense when you look at like what these companies need and how they could sort of disrupt their own revenue and build on what they already have as strengths. And it kind of like, it's a good talk. Mike, you wrote the story up. Have we posted it yet?
Yes, the story is up, so you can see a bit of a summary of it there. He
Right.
did say,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Jeff.
I was just gonna say the video should be up on Vimeo soon, and we'll put that into the story when we get a chance.
Yeah. He did say so. He did like throw some shade at Meta specifically, but he's still bullish on the metaverse and specifically bullish on NFTs. Although he didn't really have a very good argument for the NFTs thing, except for just like this baseline. Well, it's new and there's something interesting. He says something about Animal Crossing, like, oh, I'm done playing Animal Crossing, but if I could like maybe make money off of my island or something, and I was like, is that really what's going to make you more engaged with that? I don't know.
Sounds horrifying, Mike. I love
Sounds
it.
awful to me, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to throw completely under the bus because of the NFT take. It's not even the most offensive NFT take I've ever heard in my life.
Right? Yeah, it's like the mild version of the NFT take right now. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
I certainly would have been happier if Reggie was like, "Yeah, NFTs are bad," but
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we are. All right, Jeff. Next story here. Game Freak is offering 4 days work weeks for employees now, and also some new flexible schedules for employees that'll make it easier to take like hours of a time off or something like that. This is interesting. Maybe this is a mischaracterization for me, but I always thought that Japan had a pretty intense work culture.
Right.
So if its companies are maybe starting to look at the 4-day work week, I wonder if maybe we're going to see more of that here.
I mean, the thing is, Japan's running into the same thing as everywhere else, where like the labor market is tightening. Inflation is up everywhere. Like people are so focused on the United States. In the United States, everyone's like, "Oh, it's a uniquely American problem," and it's absolutely not. Like Japan has a slightly lower inflation than what we have, but relative to its own past, it's actually pretty steep inflation. And that's creating need for the people to either pay your employees more or find other ways to make them want to stick around. And if you're Game Freak, it does feel like you need to keep every single employee you have around, because you're like you're making you're on such
games.
You're making a zillion games. You are on a set schedule of when those games are expected to come out. Every 3 years we get a new mainline Pokemon game, and now we are also going to get Legends of Arceus sort of sequels probably every 3 years or so,
Right.
if not faster than that, at least coming out of the gate here. And that's on top of DLC and then all the spinoffs. Like if you're Game Freak, and Game Freak also sometimes like makes other games that aren't Pokemon. It's like, so you need to keep every single employee you possibly can. And 4-day work weeks where like those 4 days are still just like 8-hour days. It's actually probably not going to hurt your productivity all that much, and it'll keep the talent that is actually super important. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I hope this spreads, because we can't get a 4-day work week until everyone else does first. Because as long as news is still happening on Friday, we still need to
It's
work.
really depressing when you put it that way, Mike. You're right, though. God damn, I didn't think about that.
Like everyone else has to do it first before they even consider doing it for media. But yeah, so everyone get on that. It would be great.
Yep.
Splatoon 3 got a release date, September 9th. Jeff, we talked about this a little bit on Games Beats Decides.
Yes.
But just, they want to throw it out there. This was new, though. So the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion DLC is just part of the NSO expansion pack now. I never actually played that, and I heard very good things about it, so maybe now I will go and check that out.
I will, too. I think I'm always meant to buy it, never did. Maybe I did, and I just forgot about it. But
I think I never did, and now it pays off. Now I can just go play that thing.
Yeah, everything's turning up, Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna check this out. That sounds like a lot of fun. That'd be a cool thing. Oh, there's VJ immediately in our chat with the biggest Splatoon fan we know. Please play it. The expansion is great. Okay, we'll play it. I
just finished 13 Sentinels. I was literally at first I thought, I'll play some more Vanillaware games on my Switch. Can you believe that none of the other Vanillaware games are on Switch? I think that like remaster or remake of
when you said that, I went to go check Steam, and I don't think they have a lot of games on Steam even.
Yes, I know they've had a lot of different publishers over the years. Maybe that's part, but like they've ported Odin's Sphere to other things. They've like Dragon's Crown came out on like the Vita at some point. I think Sony may have been involved. I don't know. I'm shocked. I am shocked I cannot play Odin's Sphere and Dragon's Crown on my Switch. That's a big shocker.
Mike, I'm not listening to you. Do you want to know why?
Why, Jeff?
Because I'm writing a tweet to Aspire Media on Twitter.
Yes, on Twitter, Aspire. Somebody said something. So Aspire is the company that does a lot of the Star Wars remasters, and they're working on the Knights of the Republic remake. They also acquired or got acquired recently. I can't remember.
They're under the Embracer Group umbrella.
That's right. Yeah. So that happened. it's the kind of thing here. Somebody said something about Rogue Squadron, and they're gonna do that. And Inspire says, "Well, if there's interest in it, let us know." Which is a bit of like Atlas asking, "Well, we don't know if there's any interest in Persona games on Switch, right?"
Real quick, we got a VJ incoming that says, "Tell them to remaster Dark Forces." We actually got to let MVG and Night Dive do that. That's where that needs to happen at.
Well, we already had Jedi Outcast, which was cool, but I want Jedi Outcast happened, but we need Jedi Knight and Dark Forces and Jedi Academy. They do that. We need all of those.
All of them.
So yeah, there's still they've done like Pod Racer, the one with the clone troopers whose name I can't remember right now that everybody likes, and but the Rogue Squadron games, that's a big one we need to get to. I almost wish they would just skip to Rogue Leader, but I imagine they'll do Rogue Squadron 1 first. It'd also be hard. We know that what the hell? We know that Rogue Leader is like hard to emulate, so I don't know what would have to go into remastering that.
Yeah. Yes, that would be a lot of work, I think. I also think, do you think there's a chance they'll do episode 1 like Naboo, the one that they made for the prequels?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Maybe if like the other ones do really, really well.
Right. Yes. That would be like they'll circle back to that one after the GameCube ones. Maybe.
I kind of like that one's weird status as this Rogue Squadron sequel that's only on Nintendo 64 that nobody talks about. Right. Mm-hmm. Like that's pretty. I kind of like if I get into 64, if I get some ROMs, like that's one I'll check out because I remember even at the time looking at it, it's like that's weird. Everybody loved Rogue Squadron. Here's a new one, kind of, and no one cares.
Yep, no one cares.
So I don't know. I hope that they absolutely do.
I cared, Mike. I actually did care a lot.
I'm sure you did. Well, yes. You like Bounty Hunter a lot. You love all those.
Yes, I do.
Mid-tier prequel games.
No argument here. Absolutely.
Jeff, there's a story reported by Kotaku about Nintendo of America contractors being fired for talking about unionizing. Supposedly, Nintendo's response to this was basically that no, we fired that person for leaking secrets or something, for disclosure of confidential information. So I don't know. I haven't seen him around Nintendo jail myself though, so I'm not sure if that's true. Jeff, have you followed this story at all? Do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Nintendo is making this claim. They say they're going to fully cooperate, and if they're not telling the truth, I hope the National Labor Relations Board, the company that or the organization that oversees unions in the United States, finds out that that's the case, because there would likely be a paper trail of them saying this person brought up a union. Or maybe the contract company that this person was working for under Nintendo. Made that decision on their own. Nintendo is really out of the loop there. But then if there's like sort of standing orders that, hey, if there's any word of unionization coming from your company, we're going to cut off working from you. I wonder if that could still come back to Nintendo. Either way, there was a report out of Kotaku about this that said other people have had similar issues with leaking confidential information. They've gotten warnings, and this person did not. They were just immediately fired. That makes it suspicious. I don't know how much we can sort of take away from sort of that hearsay there, but still, it is. If people think this is suspicious, and it does come after the person was talking about unionization, I think it's worth looking into, and thankfully, someone is. Yes. Do I have faith that we're going to get the truth out of this? My faith has been a little bit shaken, like we talked about on GameSpeed Decides, by what's happening with the Department of Fair Employment and Housing in California and Gavin Newsom and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean these organizations shouldn't try. I hope the NLRB gets some answers.
And the last thing I have here is just that TMNT Shredder's Revenge has gotten a summer 2022 release window. So that's good. I was just hoping for something there. Does the Cowabunga collection even have a release window yet? You would kind of hope that comes out first. They just said summer very recently. Oh, for that also. So
I almost wrote a story of just about that because I was like so excited. Cowabunga. Right. Well, yes, they did say summer. Was that
Shredder's Revenge?
Maybe that was Shredder's Revenge.
Because I feel like Cowabunga collection does not have a release date.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't have a release date yet.
Just strange. Yeah, maybe it doesn't. So I mean, it seems like the kind of it's weird because that seems like the kind of thing that usually just announcing and it's out next month, right? Instead, we don't even have that. Though there's like that physical release that they showed off with a lot of stuff in it that looks pretty cool, but also I don't really need more video game junk around the house, sadly. But yeah, I just want to play these games, so I hope they come out soon. All right, Jeff, That's it for the news here.
Did you want to like touch on anything from MPD?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we were going to talk about MPD Day. Yeah, let's talk all about that. You know all about that. I knew I was forgetting something too. Let's do it, Jeff. You're the MPD man.
It's the same. I'm the same way with putting the news together. I like often forget my own stories. And
right.
So, yeah.
Well, because we were thrown off because they said it was going to come out today, and then it came out yesterday instead.
Yes, it did throw us off.
So it's actually the MPD's fault when you think about it.
When you think about it, when you really put it together. So the industry had a drop in sales in total of 15% for compared to last year. Now, to put that, so I think the first takeaway there would be, okay, what is happening is the pandemic like over for a lot of people, and so they're stopped spending money on games. Kinda, but if you look at the chart, and I will write a story about this as soon as we're done here. Matt Piscatella on Twitter today put out a chart kind of lining up the last all years since 2019. So before the pandemic, the first pandemic year 2021, and now the first couple of months of 2022. And you could see that 2022 through 2020 all line up, and they're significantly above 2019. So even though it kind of gave back a little bit compared to last March, it does seem last March was a significant outlier. And probably what happened is there were big games last March. There were big games this March as well. But also there was just a lot of people still buying new hardware because there's a lot more new hardware in the supply chain than there was this year. And that seems to specifically come down to PlayStation 5. And we'll probably talk about this a little bit more on GB Decides. But while Mike, like, it's pretty easy to get an Xbox Series X right now, it's very easy to get an Xbox Series S. Switch is pretty easy to get. PS5 just seems to be just not, there's no supply at all. And that doesn't seem to be just the demand. It seems like that's also related to Sony really struggling to manufacture those things. And there's a lot of reasons why that might be. Again, we'll talk about that more on GB Decides. But when it comes to the Switch was the number one seller in March in terms of units. It was outsold in terms of dollar sales by the Xbox. And that those same things hold true for the first 3 months of the year. So for the first quarter of the year, Nintendo Switch was the number one seller in terms of units. Xbox was the number one in terms of dollar sales. I expect the Xbox to be number one for both in April since it's so easy to get. But I guess we'll have to wait and see for that until we get MPD next month. Let's take a look at the charts. Let's actually just, since we're on the Nintendo show, let's just do the Nintendo chart. Mike, what do you think was the number one best-selling Nintendo platform game of the month of March?
Well, I mean, I know. I read I edit your stories, Jeff.
Mike, just guess. Pretend.
Kirby was it Kirby in the Forgotten Land? I don't know.
Yes, it was. Number two.
Play along. I'll be a liar like you want me to be.
It's kayfabe, Mike. Kayfabe.
Oh, now you're using words I understand. Okay.
Number two was Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number three, Mario Kart 8. I think these are all without digital sales. We'll talk about a little bit how they rank into the overall top 20 in a second. Number four was Triangle Strategy. That's a game that we know sold 800,000 copies worldwide in its first 2 weeks. Kind of give you an idea of like how these things shake out. Now, these are United States charts, and that 800,000 number is a worldwide number. Then it's Mario Party Superstars is number 5. Smash Brothers Ultimate, Animal Crossing, Super Mario 3D World at number 8, Rune Factory 5, a new game on the charts, at number 9 for the Nintendo Switch, and then number 10 is New Super Mario Brothers. I guess that must be New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe or whatever it is.
Yes, New Super Mario.
He when Matt does these numbers, I think he includes that like all as one, including the Wii U sales. So it's a little bit weird.
Well, yeah, but it would still be New Super Mario Bros. Wii U. It just wouldn't be New Super Mario Brothers Deluxe. So they made a mistake, but I'll forgive them. Jeff, I think it's actually a very good sign that Kirby sold more than Arceus, even in its second month. That is Kirby against Pokemon, and that's pretty good.
This has got to be the best-selling Pokemon, or I'm sorry, the best-selling Kirby game. Actually, wait, did it also? No, it was. Was that right? Yes, Kirby was number 1. Yes, you're right.
For Nintendo, it's number 3 overall, only behind Elden Ring at number 1 again, and then Gran Turismo 7 at number 2. Which that's interesting because some people were like, I understand people were frustrated about it and they had legitimate complaints, but some people were like, Gran Turismo 7 is like a disaster, and no, it's the best-selling Gran Turismo, and it's a huge hit. But Kirby is also a huge hit.
And I mean, a lot of those sales are going to happen on day one. People didn't like start having the disaster talk until 2 weeks after it came out. It was like the second week, and a lot by then it's already sold a lot, and that's kind of like one of the reasons they do that sort of bait and switch with the review period with the microtransactions. But also still, I mean, it deserved the review scores it got because it's still a very good game in many people's opinion. Let's see. Yeah, so Kirby in the Forgotten Land, number 3 overall for the month, behind Elden Ring, Gran Turismo 7. Number 4 was MLB The Show 22, although that's just early sales of that game. So it's like early access sales, and this is all ranked by dollar numbers, so it's probably like the $80 or $90 version of that game.
Again, that series has been doing very well. I'm sure it's going to continue to.
It's probably going to have a big showing in April when the game actually launches in earnest. Then Horizon Forbidden West at number 5, Pokemon Legends Arceus at number 6 overall.
Small drops for those two, so pretty good hold for Horizon, actually, even higher than Pokemon Legends. Again, like there was so much of like this poor Horizon talk, right? Jeff?
Right.
And it was always like Horizon is fine, just because it's not selling as well as Elden Ring, of course, and it's not getting like Twitter conversation, because what is there really to say about it? Maybe not as much, but doesn't mean it's like a worse game or certainly a worse selling game. It is doing very well.
And it's also the kind of game, and real quick before I get to that, for the first 3 months of the year, Elden Ring is the number 1 selling game by far, it seems like. Then Pokemon Legends Arceus is number 2. That's physical only. It doesn't include digital. Whereas Horizon Forbidden West, number 3, does include digital, but it can't quite beat Legends Arceus. Now, I would say on the other hand this is a game that is, many people I think are going to view as a PS5 game. It's going to have a pretty similar arc to what happened with Spider-Man, right? Where as people get PS5s, I think it's going to stay high on the charts all year and probably into early next year and stuff as people are finally getting PS5s. And this is like one of the couple of games they're going to choose from to definitely get with their PS5.
I mean, if you get a PS5 throughout this year until God of War comes out, if that does come out this year, like this is still going to be the newest big like PlayStation 5 exclusive you can get.
Yep, it's easily going to stay up on that chart all year long. In fact,
now that you say that, I'm just noticing our friend Spider-Man's not really like on the top 20 list, and it kind of had been a regular on there for a while. So maybe like Horizon 2 is finally the one that is the default pickup choice for people who want a Sony game, right? When they pick up their PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's it did drop down on the top games of the year so far. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, number 10 through the first quarter. It was, number 13. It was number 10 last month. So yes, exactly. And then let's see other Nintendo games on the top 20. Mario Kart 8 was number 8, and then kind of after that, there's some other new releases that actually came up below Mario Kart 8's physical only sales for March. Strangers of Paradise, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and Ghostwire Tokyo. Any of those surprise you not being able to overcome Mario Kart 8? Now, just as a caveat, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands does not include digital sales.
Yeah, I was maybe going to say Tiny Tina's, but if it doesn't include digital, then maybe not. Although Mario Kart 8 also doesn't include digital. That almost seems like better than expected for me for Stranger of Paradise, Jeff.
I kind of agree. Yeah.
I was kind of like the fact that it made top 10. I'm actually, oh, wow, not bad. All right. There you go. I thought that maybe like there was disaster potential there. So it looks like it's not a disaster, right? Like it's going to be
I think you might be right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo, it was always in this weird spot. There didn't seem to be that much excitement for it. Then when it came out, the reception was lukewarm. So like, 12, I guess. I don't think they're happy with it, but I'm also not surprised.
Yeah, it seems like one of those games that just, unlike, whatever people feel about it now or whatever in hindsight, Deathloop definitely seemed to get over the hump with a lot of critics and with a lot of fans. Ghostwire Tokyo did not have a similar trajectory. Let's see, then at 16, Triangle Strategy on this. Well, actually, 16 is Triangle Strategy, 17, Mario Party Superstars, 18, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 19 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Nintendo just has perennial hits unlike any other company, except for like EA, but with EA, it's like they're literally releasing a new game each year to stay on there, and they're all sports games. So of course they're continuing to stay on the charts and stuff like that. So
it's speaking about perennial hits, it is kind of shocking to see a Call of Duty, like the top Call of Duty game, be only at number 9, which sounds ridiculous.
Yep.
But sure does show how relatively unpopular Vanguard is. Like it still obviously sells a lot because it's a Call of Duty game.
It's still of the last 12 months. It's still the best selling game, of course.
Right.
Even Elden Ring, after 2 months, can't unseat it. But yeah, I mean, people say, there was a lot of talk about Ubisoft wanting to sell, and we'll probably talk about this on GB Decides as well. But people are like, oh, they make a lot of money, and the Call of Duty Vanguard, while it's not as successful as its last game, it's still making a lot of money. It's still the best selling game in the last 12 months, and it's I get that, but it's really not how investors look at stuff. When you're an investor, you put your money into something expecting this company to grow the value of that money. And if you're not growing, that means if you're not growing year over year, you are, in their view, a failure. And if that is that a good system? I don't really feel like that's a great system, but it's the system that we have, and it's the one that, like, if you are not growing, you actually are failing. So Call of Duty Vanguard definitely on those terms, definitely a big problem for Activision.
Well, Jeff, anything else here? WB at 2K22 at 7 is interesting. I would need to see charts to see if it like rebounded after the disaster a couple years ago, or if it's paying the price for that. I'm not sure. There are so many new releases here too. It's hard to say.
It beat Mario Kart 8 as a new game. It doesn't have it doesn't have digital sales, so yeah, I would say this is probably pretty good. And
people seem to like it.
Yes, and people seem to like it. It'll probably have a pretty good tail because of that, I think.
Until the AEW game comes out.
Well, then it's fucked, of course.
Yeah, because I'm in that.
Yes,
I'm in the crowd. So I'm yes, and yes, I'm a bias. You can go. You can tell whoever you want. Mike Minotti's biased for the video game that he's a part of in crowd recording. All right, Jeff. Let's get to some of these questions. We got a lot of super chats come in already. So that's nice. Maybe we should read some of them now, and then we can get into the Discord questions. What do you think?
Yes, let's do it. Yes. So you want me to?
You seem incredibly caught off guard, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I just saw my friend was here. Xbox will never be better than PlayStation.
Yeah, so. Yeah. That's why I wanted to get to these. That's why I'm so excited.
Yeah. So he said, Colin Moriarty, Shuge bodied you. Don't forget, Scrub. Oh, great. So I guess. I have no idea, so maybe he must have talked about me in his most recent podcast, I guess. I don't know.
We're not going to listen to it. Didn't Shuge apologize to you after quote-unquote bodying you?
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, listen, he criticized me for being nice to VG Charts, and I was like, okay, that's fine. You're allowed to criticize me. Of course you are. Yeah. Like, that's fine. Like, I have nothing to say back to it. Like, this is fine. Criticize. Yeah. Like, this seems to be your thing. It's not my thing.
Yes. Yeah, clearly touched a nerve. It's his thing, whatever.
Yeah.
I agree with Jeff. Like, whatever. If people want to guess about some sales numbers, whatnot.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not using them in like a story, which I
right. Yeah. We have a couple new freelancers. Aaron was going to use them in a story a couple weeks ago. I'm like, we don't use VG Charts. And it's just so it's like second nature to me. It was like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, nope, we're just here. We don't use them. We can't verify that stuff. And that was that. And it's just so old to me at this point that it's just I'm weird. It weirds me out that people are so serious about it.
Exactly. Like we've had these discussions like 10 years ago. It feels like getting worked up about it now seems weird.
Yes, but whatever. If they touch the nerve, and that's fine. He's allowed to criticize me for like giving them any validation or whatever. I think that's fine.
What did Colin say about us? Does anybody know? Somebody find out. One of you assholes must listen to that show.
Let's see, Uriel Delgado. They're probably gonna age down Rouge the Bat for Sonic movie. No bat titties. Sad fave. Didn't Jim Carrey say he had signed in for 6 movies?
I forget. I don't know what he signed for. He said he was retiring, so I don't know which one it is. But I do know that. Yeah, it is like this thing in the movies where all the characters are actually kids, which really isn't necessarily the case in the show or the games, except for Tails. I bet they don't touch Rouge the Bat, at least not in the next one. I don't think they're going to mess around with
is the reason that we're talking about this because she is the spoilers, the post-credit scene.
No, okay, spoilers for the song. No, she's not.
I haven't seen it, so it's just me guessing.
Yeah, so she's not, but Shadow the Hedgehog is. So some people think that if Shadow's coming, then Rouge would. I don't think so. I bet we'll get Shadow and like Amy, and they'll do an all Hedgehog thing for the next one. I don't think they're going to throw Rouge in there. No one really cares. And it's a kind of problematic, might be a bit much, but if you're doing the thing like, actually all these characters are like 10 years old, then yes, it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you would just like change your outfit, right? And not make it.
Yeah, or maybe you just say, no, this one's 18, but then I don't know. It's just weird. Does anybody really care that much? Is anybody going to be real at this point?
I gotta say, I'm pretty fixated on the bat's boobs. I gotta say.
Well, I'm sure you are. I'll tell you what, it was like this funny thing with the Shadow reveal. Because like I talked about this before, I can't believe that there's just this whole group like the Sonic fan is like, yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog, we accept them. He's on that same level as like Tails and Knuckles. But when that reveal happened, Jeff, in that theater of all those kids, boy, were those kiddos excited for Shadow the Hedgehog. They flipped their freaking minds.
Reading now from the chat, Turbo Sean says, yes, Mike, I care.
Well, Turbo Sean's a pervert.
Right, so... we're not talking about you, Sean. We know you care.
Yeah, we know.
We're talking about the normies. Let's see. Yeah, Radu Paracoltagana says, why would you start a tweet like that? What? And I'm sure he's talking about, this is Miyamoto. Right. Which is the best way a tweet has ever started. So that's why you do it.
It's not like it mattered if this came down for Miyamoto. Just announce that the movie's delayed. Again,
no, start every tweet with, this is Miyamoto.
How do you think that process was? Do you think like he has like the login details for the Nintendo Twitter? You think he's had to go to some guy and say, this is
he 100% like wrote it down on a piece of paper, handed it to an assistant, and then they handed it to someone else with the login details. That's how it went. But I do enjoy the idea of him logging in and then having to call someone and say, hey, what's the 2-factor? And then finally getting in and then tweeting that. I don't know. There was a lot of really good jokes about this is Miyamoto on Twitter yesterday, so I appreciated it.
Yeah. Oh, and Sean, don't worry. I just read these questions straight from Discord when I realized that would be faster, so I don't need to add anything to my notes. I'm a good boy, even though I sometimes get screwed by unfair hosts in Jeopardy.
From Uriel Delgado, Miyamoto saw Sonic 2 and said, we need to delay till next year or we are getting stomped.
They're already getting stomped. Actually, who knows? The Mario movie has the potential to make $1 zillion. Yes. I mean, there is so much on the line here. If this movie is a big hit, it means so much for Nintendo in terms of giving this whole other sector to grow in with so, not just more Mario movies, but with whatever else. And then after movies, there's just so much more marketing potential and cross media potential. And if it fails, then nope, that's all shut off for at least like another 10, 15 years, and then you can try again, I guess.
What is that? I just saw one of my most recent retweets from somebody, as someone retweeting the time I said to Colin Moriarty, Occam's razor, I just don't like you, as the reason I didn't want to go do a show with him. So, all right.
Yeah, he's definitely one. He's definitely one of those like, come debate me, bro. Guys.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what like. The types of people that do this will never, ever sit and talk to you, just like they won't with me. They're scared. I'd be scared to defend my positions, too, if I spent years flailing around an echo chamber. Thankfully, Iron Shire... This is why I won't do a show with him. He gives me the worst douche chills. Thankfully, iron sharpens iron, and you and I have no such issues. Heart. Oh, God.
It's just exhausting. It's like, I don't care.
Right, it's like the guy that won't stop talking to you at the bar. Like, okay, I was just waiting for my friends. I'm playing my Game Boy. Leave me alone.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. From Hitch, is Fallen Order 2 next gen only? I think have I said before, I can't. It's hard to keep all these things in my head. I'm pretty sure it is. I'll double check. I'm pretty sure it is. But here, the good news is you're not gonna have to wait long to find out. It's not gonna be May the 4th, but later in the month at Star Wars Celebration, you should get many of those details. From Sir Blood Raven, Windows Central versus Game Mess Discord Halo tourney. Yeah,
you better practice, Jeff. All right, because that for once, like we're doing these things, and I actually need you to be good. Okay, so whatever you tapped into recently, and you know what, that juice better to still be flowing.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'll just the blood of Mike Minotti will give me energy.
Well, yes. That's the thing. The only thing that motivates you is trying to beat me. So you better not get real slack when I'm on your team.
I'll practice. I'll get the aim thing on Steam here and do some practicing. Absolutely.
There you go. Get it. Yeah. To be clear, he means an aim practicer, not an aim bot.
Not aim bot. You're right. Yes.
To be clear.
Yes, aim trainer. RDX Son of a Fett, Halo Infinite Season 2, 343 live stream at 2. Oh yeah, okay. I guess that'd be in 40 minutes. We'll probably be wrapping up around then. We'll talk about a little bit more about Halo because I'm sure we'll be playing it. But that Season 2 looks like it's got some issues, and it also looks like it has some fun stuff. Like there's stuff to be excited about. There's stuff to continue to be worried about. I'm mostly just going to be happy to have more stuff to play, though. That's kind of still where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I'll be happy to play too. Although it is like, oh, is this really going to be another 6 month season?
Mhm.
Really, that's just too long for a shooter. But I don't know. Maybe like one of the new modes will come out in between. There has to be something like a halfway update of some kind. I don't know, but I'll be happy to be able to jump back into Halo Infinite. I still like that game a lot. Again, like I do feel like there's some people like, wow, like this has been Halo so bad that game was actually never good, right?
Mhm.
It's like, okay, Halo Infinite was still great. I'm excited to play it again. To be fair, also things like Forge and Co-op don't really matter that much to me, so that stuff doesn't hurt me as much. So if it does matter to you, I can understand being upset.
Let's see. I'll get to Georgie's here in a second. I just want to say thank you to Walgerman and F. Wit Ray Day, who became members in the last week on YouTube. If you want to hit that join button on YouTube, you can become a member of the Game Mess. Gets you into the secret channels inside the Discord and all that stuff. So feel free to do that if you want. Let's see. And then from Georgie, talk about Skullsy's leaks, the lead Xbox or the leak Xbox projects, please. Yeah, I've heard similar stuff about specifically there's a PvP versus E game at Roundhouse. I've heard about that. I've heard that here's one that I'm not sure about. Well, he says that the Elder Scrolls 6 will be set in Hammerfell. I don't know about that. I guess I could start asking about that stuff.
I'm very interested I don't know why. That's like, I'm not even the biggest Elder Scrolls fan, but I love speculating about which of the right.
I like that. I like speculating about that. Yeah. Right. I don't necessarily know if I want to go up and be like, look, here's just what's going to happen, because my audience doesn't seem to care about those kinds of details too much.
The games have done a very good job of starting with Morrowind, especially. It's like because each of these countries has such a unique feel.
Yes, I mean, the lore is so detailed on that stuff. I started watching a TikTok account about the lore of Elder Scrolls, and I'm like, man, this is interesting.
That's why I always found it kind of weird that ESO, of course it did, but just we're in Elsewhere and we're in Somerset. I'm like, oh, these places I've always assumed would be like Elder Scrolls 7. I'm just there now, and I wonder if it spoiled things a little bit. Maybe not.
Yeah, I would hope not. Let's see. I guess one of the big ones here is that there's a Mandalorian MMO at ZeniMax Online.
MMO?
Right. That's I would think even if it's ZeniMax Online, right? I would still imagine making it in a classic style MMO would not be what they're going to do. They already have their MMO, the Elder Scrolls Online. Then you do a slightly different kind of game. You could probably just make a Mandalorian Destiny style MMO, I guess, maybe. But
yeah, I mean, MMO means so many things, but
these days, absolutely, yes.
It certainly isn't going to be like the Old Republic,
right? There's already a Star Wars MMO, yeah.
Right, Mandalorian would just be one of many classes in that case. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Probably like a looter shooter.
I've also heard rumors that ZeniMax Online was working on a Starfield MMO to go along with the new game, which is why when they talk about Starfield from Bethesda Game Studios, the single player game. I don't know. I can't confirm that, but there's a lot of rumors out there with this kind of stuff, so it's hard to confirm if any of these things are real for sure. This person also says, this is from Skullsy on Twitter, there's a Quake reboot in talks. That's been rumored for forever. Machine Games has been rumored to be working on that. I
hope so.
The Elder Scrolls and Fallout remasters from In Exile, that just makes sense at a certain point. Yes. That would be a good use of In Exile and good use of those old games. There's a lot of people who worked on those games at In Exile. Yeah, I don't know. I will ask around about these, and maybe we can make it a segment on Friday and see if we can find out more. Okay. Mike, I think we are all caught up on Super Chats, though.
Awesome, Jeff. Why don't we take a very quick break, because Mikey had a very big Subway drink, and then we'll be right back, and we will get into these Discord questions, and then we'll talk about the Super Nintendo games we want to see on Nintendo Switch Online the most. And if you are not in those secret, super awesome Discord channels, you can send us a super chat for a question or for your answer to our SNES question, and we will read those on the air before the show is done. We will be right back.
Okay. Recording is paused. You do what you got to do, Mike. He's doing it. He's doing it, everybody. Okay. Hey, if you're watching live, if you hit the thumbs up button right now, I would really like that. Give us that like. It helps people find the show when we're live. Spreads it to your friends. Spread the Game Mess pandemic to your friends. It is let them all catch it. What the heck does an Elder Scrolls political system look like? Yeah, so it's part of the rumors that there's going to be a political system, and marriages and divorces and all that stuff's going to matter. That, to me, that sounds like a good angle for the Elder Scrolls, because the lore is so political, and it sounds like you would just turn it into like a first-person RPG with like Crusader King elements, right? Crusader Kings is a game all about like lineage and marriages of political importance and stuff like that, and the fallouts of that, and like scheming, and the Bethesda Game Studios has always been experimenting with emergent gameplay that from like their what was their mission system, where a guy would just come bring you a mission. That was very rudimentary, but like a systemic political system where as you put people in power, either that person begins plotting against you, or someone underneath them begins plotting against them. There's a lot of stuff they could do with that.
Good job, Jeff. That was very insightful.
Thank you, Mike. Tell me when to unpause the recording.
You can do that now.
Unpause.
And we are back. Let's get to these Discord questions. I forgot the word for Discord for a second. I almost said podcast questions, which they're all podcast questions. Pennywise asks, hey, gents, any guesses when Wind Waker and Twilight Princess will be announced / released this year? Are we thinking it will just scoot into the holiday slot Breath of the Wild 2 was originally going to occupy, or will Nintendo again refuse to release it and I'll just sit sadly in the rain? Second point, if it isn't announced this year, should we all just accept it isn't going to happen for the Switch? Maybe Switch 2. I think it is going to just move into that Breath of the Wild 2 slot. Maybe it'll be this summer, but probably that. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, if for some reason Nintendo still just doesn't release this year, I am just going to throw my hands in the air and like give up. And just start saying, never mind, I guess they're not doing it.
Me too. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they want to have a Zelda thing every year. They've been holding on to this. Why wouldn't they just put it out this year? And if they don't put this out or some other Zelda thing this year, and instead of just waiting for Breath of the Wild 2, I just will not understand. I think that game, as much as it was a joke in the Mega 64 video, I do believe it actually does come out in October. I think we get that in October. I think we get Metroid Prime 1 remaster in November. And then I think we get Advance Wars 1+2 in December. There's probably going to be like an actual new game in those months somewhere. But I think those games make a lot of sense in all of those time frames. I suppose Zelda could come out in like September maybe, but they already got a couple games in September, so October still sounds right to me.
Turbo Man says, happy Tuesday, Nintendogs. After today's Super Nintendo conversation, are you guys going to do Nintendo 64 games we won on NSO or Genesis games we won on NSO next? That's because I have a very inspired pick for the Genesis NSO topic. Well, you're in luck, Turbo Man, and next week it will be Genesis indeed. So get ready. Dr. Turbo says, good day, dogs. Sometimes the people say Nintendo is gonna Nintendo as a way to describe odd business practices that Nintendo has. What are some of your most memorable Nintendo moves? Oh gosh, for some reason the epitome was the Game Boy Advance SP just not having a headphone jack for some reason, right?
Yep.
Just like that was just like the what why? It's like no one knew why, and we had to like get an adapter or whatever. Just random bullshit like that. Like ending their 1E3 with the Wii Vitality sensor is just always such a weird thing. Like that's what they ended on, this whole thing. And like almost immediately they're like, actually, nah, never mind. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm like struggling to think of like a good example but it does happen all the time, doesn't it? So I don't know. I think that
I mean, the Super Mario 3D like All Stars weird like time gating thing.
Oh,
and then
like,
also
launching those games without like the games originally had inverted camera, and then they released it and they only had direct camera, and you couldn't invert it back to the way it was when it launched on the N64. That was so weird to me. I didn't feel, I wasn't even mad. I felt like betrayed and hurt. Like, you made me this way. This is the reason I play games with an inverted camera, because this is what you said was normal to me when I was 11 years old or whatever, when Mario 64 came out. And now this is how you do me? It's just like, I felt so betrayed.
Cronius says, what do I have to do to get a new Endless Ocean game? I thought Subnautica would fill the hole in my heart for a chill scuba diving game, but I've never been so wrong. That game is true representation of the horrors of the deep. Please, Nintendo. Jeff, I don't feel like the odds of a new Endless Ocean aren't looking super good.
Yeah, I don't think so. First of all, I mean, of course, you hear the kids out there clamoring for a new Endless Ocean, but it falls on deaf ears.
Bench JC says, I'm a youngster and turned into an adult this summer. Whoa. While I am not 18 yet, I've almost made a rude joke there, Jeff, and thought better of it.
Well
While I am
done.
not 18 yet, I have still played many mature games. Whoa, Jeff, we might have to report this guy to the police.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get him on the phone.
Those
You keep
ESRB
talking to
ratings are
him.
there for your own safety.
Yes, there's been a
while
game
not-
crime.
While I'm not
Get
18
him.
yet, I have still played many mature games as my parents could care less as long as it didn't affect how I acted. Jeff, from a parent's perspective, what is your opinion on kids/teens playing games above their age range, and how would you approach it?
I am mostly of the mind of if they think they can handle it, I think they can handle it, and that's true for most. Like my 5-year-old watches a lot of shows on like, especially on like Netflix, where it's like young adult animation. There was that I don't know, but she says like the show is sad and the show's emotional. I've caught her like almost like shaking from like emotions watching some stuff, and I'm like, okay, now it's time to like maybe have a conversation about what's going on. Maybe let's try a different show. Are you okay? But I kind of want to give them the leeway to explore that stuff on their own, and I as long as they're not hurting other people and or even trying to like hurt other people with like words, I'm mostly going to be open to letting them explore media however they want.
I still remember my mom getting us Mortal Kombat 3 for the Super Nintendo, I think, and the Best Buy person was like, who are you getting this for? Because it was like me and my two brothers, we were all young, and she just like immediately lied, like, oh, it's for my son in college. It was the one time like somebody at like a store like that said something. It was weird.
Your mom pulled the cool mom move. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah, because she was pretty, not like she was a strict mom, but she was pretty normal mom about a lot of things. But I think she knew, like,
Yeah,
she knew that me and my brothers weren't exactly the most violent, outbursty people. So I don't think she ever bought the whole video games were going to turn kids into monsters thing, because I was one of her sons.
I think even then, the nightly news and then early cable news like CNN was absolutely warping my mom's brain. So it was like, as soon as they like said, "Oh, yep, Mortal Kombat is evil and you can't let your kids play," Mom's like, "Okay." And so when I asked to get Mortal Kombat, like to rent it, she had an opinion on it, and she'd never had opinion before any of that stuff. So it's like, okay, all right, never mind. I'm like, I'd even try at a certain point.
I was spared all that, thank God.
Yep.
Ezipsis says, my son is turning 4 soon, and I want to start getting him to play some games with me. He has watched me play quite a few. I also played Sekiro on hard mode the same way you did, Jeff, baby in hand.
Yep.
Much to my wife's disapproval, he really did enjoy watching Elden Ring. He very much liked what he called spider gloves. What do you think? Should I get him to start on the NES to build his skill in perseverance, or just throw him onto Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Jeff, I mean, I obviously don't have your expertise here, but I feel like you just throw a lot of things and see what sticks. Something's gonna stick.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good advice, because that's what they say like works with kids in like sports as well. You don't listen to Malcolm Gladwell. Don't be like, you have to play 10,000 hours of this video game to get good at it.
Yes.
The kids that play a lot of different stuff, this is true for sports and probably video games, tend to be more well-rounded and still have a passion and sort of build up the skill they need naturally. So I would say, yeah, throw a lot of different stuff at them. I think if you're looking for specifics, maybe make it a thing where it's like about you and the kids playing together. Like, make a level for them in Super Mario Maker. I think that's a real good way of like saying, hey, I made this for you. I know exactly what you need to do to get through it. And if you need help, I'll be right there. But I set it up for you and your skill level, and then sort of challenge them and go back and forth. That, first of all, it makes Super Mario Maker really fun, because when you're making it for someone specific, it's kind of magical. And the kid will kind of always have these memories of playing these levels that you made for them.
I will say you may have to like let go a little bit of like they need to play the games that you played, right?
Yeah.
I know my nieces, like, like they're, it turns out a lot of those games that are popular with kids, like your kids are gonna like them too. Like my nieces right now are obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's, Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft. Right? There is just something about those that kids like, and it's should be completely fine to embrace that.
Yeah, my daughter has been asking for Mario Odyssey again in the last few weeks, which is, of course, it makes me happy. But it's also like they will also be attracted to the games that have always been popular, because Mario and Sonic have a universal appeal. So
yes,
just throw stuff at them and let them watch you play, and it'll happen naturally.
Mm-hmm. Velocity Prime 1 says, howdy do, my fellow dogs. There has been a real improvement recently on Saturn emulation. So I was wondering, outside of Knights, Panzer Dragoon, and Power Slave, what games you would recommend a person who never owned the console to check out? there's this 2D beat 'em up called a Stall that's made by Sega. It has 2-player co-op where the one guy's just like the first player is just a dude and the second player is actually a bird. Just a really pretty 2D game. I always liked that one a lot. I thought that it was a lot of fun. Jeff, do you have like a go-to Sega recommendation? Panzer Dragoon is such a popular answer. He took that one away from us right away.
Right, yeah. Panzer Dragoon Saga is the one I think a lot of people actually would be surprised at how much they'll enjoy it still, of course. But I think I liked like Burning Rangers when I played it recently.
I want to play Burning. I love the song from Burning Rangers so much, and I've never played a moment of it.
It's actually surprisingly. Oh yeah, is Sakura Wars? Is that one that's on
Sakura
Saturn?
Wars. Yeah, I think the first one was on Saturn.
Everyone says they love that, and I think a bunch of people in our community just went back to it recently and have like fallen in love with it.
Translations.
So yeah, I think it might be worth looking into that. And I think I plan to try that on stream here pretty soon. So there you go, everybody.
I also like the Clockwork Knight games and the Bug games. I don't know how well either of those have actually held up, I'm afraid to say. Saturn also had a lot of good like fighting games. X-Men versus Street Fighter on there was good and stuff like that. There's a lot, and yeah, I hope my dream would be that we would get like Saturn games on the NSO, but probably not going to happen. But man, that would be great. More likely, we'll get more projects like Power Slave Exhumed, where we get people bringing these back somehow. The problem is, if it's a Sega game, we would need Sega to do it, and they have not. They've barely done anything with their Saturn library so far, which is a real shame.
Yep.
Dear Nintendogs from Casual, I was leafing through this SNES themed edition to come up with answers for this week's question, which brings me to my question. How do you currently feel about gaming magazines? Do you miss them, or is it a good riddance having them mostly gone? I mean, I miss them. There's a part of me that's like, I don't know if I can really go back again. You can't go home
go
again,
back
right?
To. Yeah.
I mean, if I really did miss them, like there are still some game magazines. If I really miss them, I guess I could get those. And there are like some newer ones that are super specialized, and that's like too. But part of what made them exciting back then was that that's where I was getting my news, right? That's where I was finding out about things. And there's just no way I can really find out about something from a magazine first anymore. It's just, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I mean, I miss them a lot. It was the way that I grew up on them. But the reason that you really can't go back to them now is all the interesting stuff is happening online, and not even just like online, but like very specifically creator-led media. Like all the people that like would have been the cool people in magazines are just have their own YouTube channels now and stuff, and their own podcasts. So you kind of have to go find them there instead. But I mean, that's why I started doing that video show where I go back and look at old game magazines. I'm going to keep doing that. So, I'll keep that love alive in its own sort of container over here and not worry about trying to ever go back to magazines because it's just not going to happen.
Mitch, Mark, Matt, Max, Minotti, Bob says, this is Miyamoto. Nintendo was willing to talk about shifting the release of multiple games last week, but left out the fate of Advance Wars. Do you still think this game is a shot releasing this summer? Or like Jeff has mentioned with other Nintendo titles, they are content sitting on it for a while to fill in gaps later down the road. I don't know about the summer. It's going to come out this year. We're already seeing like people are kind of desensitized to the whole Ukraine thing already a little bit, right, Jeff? People are some people like it's still awful and it's still a thing. We should all still be thinking about it. But I think Nintendo is going to internally be like, all right, the atmosphere has cooled a bit now where people aren't going to really care that much if we release this video game with tanks in it.
Yes, I think they'll eventually get to that point again. I think probably before the end of this calendar year, hopefully. If not, maybe it's like a full year delay all the way to April of next year or something like that. But I think it comes out probably at least before the end of this fiscal year.
Nintendo Bro asks, what's more likely to happen, a Game Boy Advance Metroid collection on Switch or a Fusion remaster? See, I don't know if they'd remaster Fusion. They'd probably just remake it, which would maybe make it worse. You don't need to remaster it. So I don't know, maybe a collection. I don't think they're going to do either, honestly. I think, if anything, we'll just get Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance NSO stuff. And that's it. That's all they're going to do.
I think there's a chance they might include them with Metroid Prime 1 remaster on the Switch. That's cool. Like a special unlock or something like that. But we'll see.
Especially with Fusion, maybe just Fusion, because Fusion had some stuff that worked
exactly.
With the Connect.
Yes.
So if they just put Fusion like that, that would actually make some sense, and that would be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Octo says, "Hey gang, what's the best T-shirt you have? Mine's probably this custom RoboCop that a friend made with bleaching. That does look pretty.
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, I I have a shirt of Mega Man and Rush drawn in like the Mario and Pluto style. I like that one a lot. I haven't worn it in a while. I gotta find it. I also had this shirt I got from Target like forever ago. It's just like one of those like covers of an old Star Wars comic, and it's oh Jeff, you brought up the RoboCop, nice. And it's just like it's Luke Skywalker running up to Han Solo and Chewbacca, and there's some kind of like space station. It's like not canon at all. It makes no sense. He's like he's like, oh no, Han Solo, the Death Star's attacking, and Han Solo is like, it's too late, kid. We're finished. And I really like that weird fatalist. I love the fatalist attitude of Han Solo. That's just a perfect cover for a comic, right? Because it's like that's how they tease it. Like, yeah, they're all gonna die, or are they? Better buy this comic. I don't know why. I love that shirt. I thought it was hilarious.
Hang on, I just bought this today. Let's see if I can get it on here. But I bought this. I for some reason that old Rareware logo really gets me, and I like the varsity looking jacket style of this hoodie.
Oh, that is nice. That is classy.
Yeah. It's on Fangamer, and it's a little bit expensive, but I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, well, it's probably gonna actually be good quality then, hopefully.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I bought some stuff from Redbubble, and it falls apart. So I'm like, when I see something like on Fangamer, I'm actually just gonna go for it.
There you go. Yeah, that looks good. That is a classy logo. You're right.
Yes. Yeah, for people, it's the old Rareware logo that would launch before like a Super Nintendo Rareware game. Not the wireframe one, although I also like the wireframe logo a lot.
Mr. Bowler says, "Hey Nintendogs, how likely would Nintendo release major first-party games for both the Switch and the Switch successor for the first year plus, similar to what Nintendo's doing with the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5? Would hardware differences be too much to do this, or does it go against Nintendo's way of doing business? Also, is the Mario movie being delayed to coincide with the launch of the Switch 2 WikiFace?" That is absolutely not the case, but I don't think they would do that, Jeff. I don't think Nintendo can sell these games for full price forever. They're not going to suddenly make such a policy shift that they're going to give away a bunch of them for free to people who get a Switch 2.
Yeah, that seems pretty unlikely. That Nintendo is known for wanting to keep the value of their games, the perception of the value of their games high for as long as possible. They spend a lot of effort and time and money doing that. They're not going to do anything that sort of undermines that. So I think you're right, Mike.
Major Blizzard says, do you dogs think Nintendo is happy enough with the success of Kirby to continue to push Kirby enough to try and do a Kirby section for Super Nintendo World? So in each Super Nintendo World, there's some have room for expansion packs and some don't. And so far, like Super Nintendo World itself has been all Mario stuff with like Donkey Kong kind of being an offshoot that works with that. So I don't know if like maybe they can make a Kirby section, and that could be the place we could throw in a lot more like small scale kid rides, right? Like most of these theme parks have a section where you can kind of throw in a carousel, but Dr. Seuss themed carousel and stuff like that.
And you could sell a lot of merch, like introduce new Kirby merch.
So I think Kirby is more likely than a lot of other properties, but I also don't know. It's certainly far from a certainty. I will say that they're certainly happy with the success of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. If nothing else, we will be getting probably a direct sequel to that relatively soon.
But we'll also get Rusty's Real Deal baseball batting cages at Nintendo World, right?
Sure we were, Jeff. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Don't you worry. That's happening for sure. Don't be sad.
Never sad.
Velocity Prime 1 says, do you think Nintendo moved the Mario movie to Good Friday because it better reflects his sacrifice for sins of men? Is that true? That's funny. That's weird. Yes, that's exactly it.
Yes. Mario, specifically Mario's sacrifice. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Beef Hammer says, happy Tuesday, Jeff, and Milk Tank Minotti. Well, Nintendo's year starting to fill out more and more. Do you have concerns about games being pushed out of this year, such as Bayonetta 3? Seems like the development of it has been weird, and I'm losing faith it will actually drop this year. Bayonetta 3 is certainly more likely to be delayed than a lot of the other ones. So
that seems like one of those. That's probably the new game that will come out later this year, if it does come out this year. Like in the last 3 months, they're not going to rush Bayonetta 3 because I think they're afraid of pushing Platinum in a way that might sacrifice the quality of that game. So yeah.
Right, and Platinum's been a little iffy lately, Jeff.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, they hits and misses, and then a couple of misses in a row. Yeah.
Hosp says, "Hello, dogs. Have you guys considered playing Escapist 2 and Prisoner Architect to aid you in your escape from Nintendo jail?" I don't play too many prison-themed games, Jeff. There's even what was Joseph Ferris's game in between Brothers and Tale of Two Brothers and It Takes Two.
Yeah.
The Jail Escape one that people didn't seem to talk about as much.
I think it's my brother and me or something like that. Yeah.
No, that's a Nickelodeon show.
No, it's a podcast. But yes, keep going. Yep.
Well, to be clear, that podcast is oh right, that's the McElroys, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's the most popular podcast in the world or something.
Yes, very close.
Way out. Thank you, everybody. Resoid says, if you bought Twitter, how would you abuse your power? I would hold all Nintendo's accounts for ransom until they make Nintendo chickens.
I still think Reese might be Gonzo. I think he might be Gonzo.
He's just Gonzo.
Yeah.
He just loves chickens.
He loves chickens.
Yeah, I mean, I would just use it to harass Jeff. Like every time he sends a tweet, it's just like a picture of a fart sound. Somehow a fart sounds just play whenever you look at it. Whenever Jeff pushes a key when he's on Twitter, it makes a fart sound. I'm just going to like suffocate him with fart sounds.
Oh, listen, it sounds delightful.
Yes. Jeff, do you want to say what you would do with Twitter, or do you not even like to think about it? Because I didn't like thinking about it.
I don't want. Yeah, no, I don't like thinking about it. No.
Fair enough. Gerber says, "Hey guys, since getting my Steam Deck, I've been going back and redeeming keys for all the stuff I got through Humble Bundles. At some point, there must have been a Capcom bundle, as I have both Mega Man Legacy Collections and Mega Man 11. Where should I start with this franchise? This is probably more of a question for Mike than Mr. Hairflaps. Either just start with Mega Man 11." Which is good. I think it has an easy mode too, so it can ease you into things more. If you want to like go old school, start with Mega Man 2. Don't play Mega Man 1 until like if you think you're really into the series and want to see where it started. Otherwise, you start with 2 and then work your way from there. Or you just have the Mega Man Legacy Collections, not Mega Man X. So don't worry about Mega Man X. Yeah, either start with 2 or 11.
Did we ever say that the prison game was a way out? Did we ever say?
Yeah, Chad said that, and I thanked them for it, but you didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that. Okay, good.
Dugan says, will the real Miyamoto-san please stand up? Also, could the dogs please do rankings of the current NSO offerings? Selfishly, it would help prioritize what to play next. Thank you. That sounds fun, but it's like, I also haven't played all of them. I guess I could try some of the ones I haven't played yet. I guess you don't need to beat all of them. I guess I've started most of them. Might be a fun idea, actually, Jeff, just ranking the NSO games. Maybe that's something we should think about. We can, that's a good idea.
Add it to the list.
Add to the list. Yeah, we should do that Kirby ranking actually pretty soon.
Okay,
so we can start doing rankings again. How about
Sounds
that?
good. Yeah.
Turbama says, "Hey guys, sorry I was gone last week. I totally noticed. But do you guys think Switch Sports is going to have anywhere near the cultural relevance of Wii Sports? Does it even need to be good to reach that?" Jeff, I immediately feel bad for my I didn't notice joke. That was mean of me. But no, it will not have the cultural relevance of Wii Sports, but also doesn't need to, right?
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't need to. It's a different time. It is the kind of thing where even if it just appeals to the people who already own a Switch, that's a pretty big audience. I think the Switch has kind of already justified its own self in terms of having a wide global appeal to a broad audience, and it doesn't need Switch Sports to do that on its own to continue to justify itself. It's just another feather in its cap. That's so. I mean, hey, we're gonna be playing it this Friday, and even if I just get a couple of good weekends of playing with people online, that's a success to me. Like, it doesn't have to be something where it recreates the USA Today or the morning show segments where the hosts were playing the game. It doesn't need to do that anymore.
Tink says, "Sup dogs, the Mario movie's delayed, probably because who would want to compete with Avatar 2, I reckon, and people are talking about it again. There are a lot of jokes at its expense, rightfully with some of the casting choices, but I think it might end up being pretty decent. They wouldn't flub this, right? After what happened with the first Mario Bros. Movie? Follow-up question, what do you think of that first Mario Brothers movie?" I like that Mario Brothers movie. I'll just say it. I think there's something fun about it. I think that, you could say that it's weird, like post-apocalyptic, like steampunk vibe was an odd fit, but I think they did a good job with it. Like, they made that giant city square set, and it looks kind of, maybe I'm just impressed with movies making sets back in the day,
yeah.
Jeff, but the fact
they don't do it anymore.
Wow, that's pretty neat, actually. I know that what's his face hated doing it, Bob Hoskins, but he also he showed up. He did a good job.
Yeah, he didn't phone it in. He did the character. Yeah.
Dennis Hopper was fun. John Leguizamo. I thought the casting actually mostly worked. I mean, the idea of sexy young antagonist Luigi was maybe a bit of a bad idea, right? It's actually Luigi And she's called Daisy in that movie, isn't she?
Yes, it is Daisy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or is
strange.
it Petunia or Paulina? No, it's
No,
Daisy. It's got to be Daisy. Yeah.
It's Daisy, yeah. And like, there's some things they threw in there, like they absolutely just shoved Yoshi into that movie for no reason, and it was like a little. So yeah, it's like obviously not a good movie, sure, but
But it's interesting, which is way better than most
Yes.
movies. And
Yes.
I think it's better now than it definitely was back then. If you go watch it now and don't have high expectations, and you don't need it to be like Super Mario Brothers movie, they're justifying, or they're giving credit to video games in Hollywood, like people sort of were back then. It's just fun and weird and a good time. Like, it's not a bad watch. You could sit down and have a good time with that. Is that on Prime Video? Because I wish we could watch that.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
don't know.
thing. That'd be great.
I wish. Jedi Moss 4 asks, when do you think Game Boy Advance would drop into NSO? Is that something they could potentially save until after new hardware is released? I mean, it depends if it's coming with Game Boy and Game Boy Color or not. If it is, I imagine the next drop of consoles for NSO will happen this fall, around the time we got Nintendo 64 introduced. If not, then maybe Game Boy Advance would be like 6 months after that. And that, like, not new hardware. I don't think so. I think it'll be before that.
Yeah.
Jumpmat says you can either keep eating pizza or use cheese in any other possible form. Which do you choose? Well, that's rough because I love cheese.
This is actually
What
easy
else?
for me.
I also love pizza, and I'm not going to do those cheeseless pizzas. I'm not doing that. So what? Yeah, Jeff. Well, for you, you probably want pizza, right?
Pizza, because I pretty much have already stopped eating cheese in all their forms. It's like the one time I let myself eat cheese. I have a slight allergy to cheese that causes me to have a postnasal drip, and it's very annoying, and I don't like it. So I just eat it when I'm like, hey, I have to have cheese on this thing, and that one thing is pizza.
And I like cheese a lot. I have like a little bit of cheese in almost all of my meals, so that's pretty rough. But I also like pizza, but I also don't eat that much pizza anymore because, fat. So maybe, I guess I'd rather use cheese in any other possible form, which is harsh. Rumham asks, has Metroid Dread sold over 3 million? I feel like we haven't heard sales numbers since the launch numbers. It almost certainly has.
Yes.
Nintendo... sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're gonna get the earnings report here in a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks from now, so we'll know soon.
We'll know soon. I hope it's made 5 million. It's had to have sold over 3 million, I would hope. But
I bet it's at like 3.5, 3.8. Yeah. It's probably not even 4 million, but still over 3.
Turbomination asks, what is the most easy to recommend Nintendo franchise to non-Nintendo hardcore gamers? Thinking Fire Emblem, as long as that person doesn't hate anime. I mean, non-Nintendo hardcore gamers can mean so many different things, right? Like, was this somebody who only likes like Madden, they only like Call of Duty, they just not play very many video games? So, I mean, I don't know. Fire Emblem is like good if they are a big JRPG fan, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Fire Emblem, as long as the person doesn't hate, there's something about like very appealing to them. I think, yeah, if they're into anime, Fire Emblem's a pretty good one. But like if you're like trying to recommend them something, I don't know, like Animal Crossing, if they're that kind of person, if they are like not into video games at all, I think Animal Crossing is one that's very approachable for them. But I don't know, Mario Kart is very popular for a reason though. So
God Rizla says, hey, Beef and Cheddar Boys, if Nintendo were to make sandwiches, what would their respective characters' sandwiches be? Example of obvious choice would be Mario having lasagna. Is lasagna a sandwich? Is this what he's really trying to do? Is say that lasagna is a sandwich?
Yeah, this was a cruel trick that he's playing on us here to get us to have a long conversation about whether or not lasagna is a sandwich. But we're not going to fall for it, are we, Mike? Because it clearly is.
Yeah, this is a question in bad faith, I say. Move on.
We all know it's a sandwich. Sorry, I'm just joking.
It's not because I don't want to have to spend brain energy trying to imagine this complex what if scenario.
Yeah. Donkey Kong is a cheesesteak, and Mario is a cold cut Italian sub from Subway. There you go.
Yeah, and Waluigi just puts like full cloves of garlic, full bulbs of garlic, not like doesn't take the skin off, just puts them in between 2 slices of Wonder white bread, and that's his sandwich.
And then Waluigi eats a hot dog, and he tells everybody it's a sandwich. That's what it is. Yes,
that's Turbo Sean says not Nintendo related, but time sensitive. Oh. What are we going to call ourselves when we kick Windows Central's collective asses in Halo? I think Ben's suggestion of Beef and Cheddar Mata is a clear frontrunner. Oh, like Armada, Cheddar Mata, Beef and Cheddar Mata.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad. We could go with that.
Yeah,
go with that.
That's definitely number one for now. We'll see if anyone has anything better.
Yeah. Engine 25 says, not really a question other than what's your game of the year 2022 so far, and why is it Kirby? Also, I'm in the TD of an auditorium in Atlanta, and I'm watching on the big screen your basically movie stars. Look at this, Jeff. He's got us playing on this auditorium screen.
Yeah, that's
I look
great.
very sleepy. My game of the year so far is Elden Ring. Kirby would be in the top 5 for sure, though.
Yes, I'm right there with Mike on that. Where it's like, yeah, and let me see if I can bring up this picture of us. And that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. I messed up. Now it's just we're doubling up.
Oh no.
My game of the year is Elden Ring so far. Kirby is also up there. There's a few other things, but Tunic.
I'm glad you showed everybody our chat revenue, by the way.
Yeah, $26, everybody. A Tunic probably going to be a little below Kirby. They fell apart in the end for me.
That actually pleases me.
Jeez, you're able to like
fuck
dance
you,
on
Tunic.
dance on Tunic's grave, Mike. Jesus.
I don't know what it is with me at these indie darling
Yeah.
games that get compared to Zelda and just not hitting with me. I liked Tunic a lot more than Death's Door, to be fair, but I also didn't feel myself motivated to go back to it after I got kind of frustrated with it one time. So. Venomous Jellyfish Incoming says, howdy, boys. Just wanted to point out the absurdity that Devil's Third is worth roughly $500 complete in box. What the fuck? Yeah, that usually has a lot more to do with rarity than with quality, although quality does sometimes help. I don't know. I know almost nothing about Devil's Third, Jeff, except that it is, in fact, a video game.
Yeah, it's worth a lot of money is one other thing I know, and then I also know that I every time I look into what it is, I'm like, I ain't playing that shit, and then that's the end of it.
And Turbo's like, "Where's my cut?" You know what? I've been getting some spammers in my Twitch chats, and I don't have any of you moderators there to deal with them. And I have to alt tab out. So I don't know if you guys need
slacking on a job. Disgusting. Disgusting.
I don't know. That is it with the questions, Jeff. It is going to be time now to talk about the Super Nintendo, specifically the Super Nintendo game that we want on NSO the most. Jeff, I know your main answer here is Super Mario RPG. Is there anything else you want to bring up, or you just want to rant about Mario RPG some more?
Let me rant about Super Mario RPG, actually. This is insane. I don't care what it takes to make it happen. It's one of the best games on that system. It is... it's like substantial. It's the kind of thing where it sort of, if their concern is adding value to Nintendo Switch Online, Super Mario RPG is like one of those games that's like on its own adds a significant amount of value. There are generations of people who have never touched that game, getting a chance to kind of go back and see why weirdos like us are like, put Geno in Smash. They could get
a lot.
Yeah, it's so... it's bizarre. I get that Square Enix probably does want too much for it. And to that I say, figure it out. Nintendo, figure it out. Square Enix, stop being so stupid. Just let us have the game. At a certain point, it's like, this is why you drive me to emulation. You made me do this. You made me get a Steam Deck. So I guess I'll just go play it on Steam Deck instead. But it's stupid. It should be on there.
Mm-hmm. So, aside from that, it seems like most of the big first-party Nintendo games are really on there already. But there's some like realistic third-party ones I want, like stuff not like Aladdin or these licensed things, Goof Troop or whatnot, that I think could be on there, should be on there. Top Gear is actually my number one choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming.
No.
I never played Top Gear very much until I modded it onto my Super Nintendo Classic. But I think that is actually a lot of fun. And the soundtrack is incredible. Everybody knows. I think most people know that the soundtrack to that game is very good. But I was actually surprised how much I liked playing it. Because Super Nintendo racing games, I basically only have ever thought about Mario Kart and F-Zero. And I'm not a big fan of those top-down ones, like your RC.
Right. I like those, racing. But you've never liked them.
I never really got into those, but the kind of, it's almost like a super scroller style, right? And even the thing that mostly bothers people about the game, how you always see like a second player screen on the bottom, that doesn't really bother me. I don't know, just the idea of like having that easily accessible would be a lot of fun to me, and that would make me really happy. I want to have Top Gear on there really badly. Don't know if it's going to happen, but that's.
I feel like I rented Top Gear and had a good time with it once, and then never touched it again. Yeah.
The other one that I keep hoping to see there is UN Squadron, which is supposed to be like the best shmup for the Super Nintendo, according to a lot of people. And I kind of want to play more shmups, but they're the ones I want to play just aren't easily available yet. Like I want to play that, and I want to play Thunder Force 4, which is on the
Right.
Genesis Classic, but I keep waiting for them to bring that one to the NSO also.
Right. That one is the very good one, or is 3 the very good one?
4 is the very good one.
Okay.
4 is the one people love a lot. I think 3 is also supposed to be good, but 4 is like I think everyone thinks is the best one. All right then. So those are some good starts here. If I do say so myself, we are very smart. Let's see what our community said. Victorian Jubilee Incoming said, we're apparently never getting Chrono Trigger, so I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction and say that the Power Rangers beat 'em up game. It's morphin' time, motherfuckers.
That's actually a pretty good game. I remember renting that one and having a very good time with it.
It is very good, and I would, absolutely not.
I haven't played that in so long. It completely left my brain until you mentioned it right here. That is, I'm gonna have to play that again.
Super Power Rangers is such a nostalgic thing because it was like the first time I was aware of trends and what that meant.
Yes.
Like it's like one day all the first graders weren't talking about Power Rangers, and then the next day we were, and we all suddenly liked Power Rangers, and that's just how it works. Sometimes.
And I was just a bit out of the range of like the target audience, but it was still like the thing that was on after school. So I still totally watched it, and I remember like by the time the Green Ranger stuff started happening, I'm like, oh, I'm into this. This is fun. Yeah,
good stuff. Courageous McBasketball says Super Mario RPG. They have to do it at some point. I still don't even understand. Like, I understand it's slightly more complicated because Square Enix is involved, but I mean, it's not like this is, the Soviet Union and the United States here. These are two video game companies that work with each other all the time. Like, how difficult can it really be to make a deal here?
Yep. I mean, they made the deal for the Super Nintendo Classic, right? For Super Mario RPG.
And obviously 3 were in there, so
they probably said like we'll only manufacture so many of these. So like here, like is that part of it? You think?
It's weird. I don't know. I mean, it's weird because like I get it a little bit with Chrono Trigger because if they're going to release Chrono Trigger, they're just going to do it themselves. But they can't release Super Mario RPG by themselves anyway.
Yeah.
So like, what are they going to do? Mitch, Mark, Matt, Max, Minotti, Bob says, I'm getting some major vibes from this question. I can't quite put my finger on these vibes. Wait, I can feel it. The vibes, they feel like Mega Man X, baby. Come on, Nintendo, do the right thing. Yeah, so like obviously you have the Legacy collections on Switch already, but Mega Man X1, at least just that one should be on there. Come on, it's just like it's maybe the best Super Nintendo game. It's certainly in the top 5. Alex said Final Fantasy 7 or Chrono Trigger. I assume he meant Final Fantasy 6. I played Chrono Trigger once and Final Fantasy 6 never. He did mean 6. With the ports all seemingly having issues, I'd love that older code to just have the original game. Yeah, that's the thing with Final Fantasy 6 though. Like the original game also has very bad code and not a pretty bad translation.
Yes.
Like Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo has some pretty bad bugs, and not just like bugs you may never run into. I mean like something with like certain stats just not registering or working. And it has that Bob Woosley was his name translation. And he also did Chrono Trigger, and he kind of got better. Like his Chrono Trigger translation is actually pretty fine for me, but I never liked his Final Fantasy 3 one. So if you want to play Final Fantasy 6, I still say you should play the Game Boy Advance version if you don't want to mod the original Super Nintendo version or mod the Pixel remaster. Turbo Man says, it's gotta be the SNES Maddens, right? Of course he would say that. Come on, Nintendo, work with the NFL to get those gems on the NSO. Wait, were the Maddens ever on Super Nintendo?
Oh, yeah. There were Madden games on Super Nintendo, yep.
For some reason, I just thought they were Genesis. I just associate Genesis so much more with every sports game except for Ken Griffey Jr. baseball.
Yeah, they had Tommy La Russa baseball, which of course superior to King Griffey.
Yes.
No.
Madden says, okay, since licensing issues will make that impossible, I'll say my non-Madden choice is a localized version of Tetris Battle Gaiden, and I thank Giant Bomb for informing me of this game's existence. We don't have Kirby's. We got Kirby's Dream Course on there, but we don't have Kirby's Avalanche on there yet, huh?
No, especially with online play, that'd be really fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. When he says the Shin Megami Tensei games in English, well, that would take some extra work. And if they did do that, they'd probably want to sell it separately, kind of like what they did with Fire Emblem. But hopefully they'll do those at some point. Pennywise says Super Mario RPG. Seriously, why not Nintendo? That's a good question. One Up versus CPU says, I'd love to finally get the SNES version of Mega Man and Bass in English in the original resolution. I doubt Capcom is working on some kind of Mega Man Leftovers Legacy collection with it on it. They already have a translation for it from when they did the Game Boy Advance version. Just do a Capcom. That actually makes a lot of sense because it's yes, it's technically a Japanese game, but they already have the translation, and it's not like there's that much text. And yeah, so we got this. We only got this game on the Game Boy Advance here, and because it's on the Game Boy Advance, the resolution is like a lot
Weird.
worse, which for a Mega Man game is a pretty big problem.
Yes.
So I would absolutely love to see that. Wildfire Alex says, "All right, time for the real SNES classic to shine here. Nintendo should add Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure. Yes, that's a real game. Oh, I know it's a real game. Don't you worry. Oh,
Yes,
I had Booger Man.
I rented it multiple times.
Rented it. Bitch, I bought it. Booger Man is everything you need to know about the mentality of the 1990s gaming industry. That's true. This excellent side-scrolling platformer is complete with disgusting visuals and sounds to boot of the aforementioned hero's namesake. There was a 2013 Kickstarter that failed to relaunch the series. I forgot about that. That's funny. Imagine having the balls to think that 2013 wanted Booger Man to come back. So this is going to be the best next thing. If you ever wanted to see how gaming was in the mid-1990s, this is easily the best one to put on NSO. I feel like Nintendo they wouldn't do it. They'd be too ashamed to put Booger Man on their system. Zipsa says, Bugs Bunny Rabbit Rampage. I've never actually played it, but I've always wanted to. I know I could just do some sort of crime, but it wouldn't feel as special. Man, I don't know this one. I know Bugs Bunny's birthday blowout for the NES very well, Jeff, but I don't know anything about Rabbit Rampage.
Yeah, I don't. I was just like gonna say, like, I don't think I ever even saw this game, so I don't know what it is.
Ramhans says any of the Satellaview games would be super cool. The Zelda one specifically, yeah, like man, get the that F-Zero like Satellaview thing with the new courses on there. Like, why the heck not? MN Goldly says ActRaiser is my reasonable answer. My dream answer is Tetris Battle Gaiden. I don't know anything about this Tetris Battle Gaiden thing, but everybody sure does seem to like it. I need to. So it's Tetris Battle. Is this like Tetris Attack, which was basically just Pokemon Puzzle League, or is this something more like normal Tetris?
I'll look it up.
Yeah, ActRaiser, man, I would love to get that because
it just looks like Tetris. It looks like two-player Tetris, yeah, versus.
I never played ActRaiser and people love it, but people were kind of mixed on the remake of it, so I don't want to play that. I want to play the original, but the existence of the remake may make it more iffy that we'll get that on the SNES, sadly. I wonder if any of those other Quintet games are on there or are going to come on there, like Illusion of Gaia and whatnot. B Papa says Tetris Attack. There you go, Tetris Attack. I know we already have Peño de Pan, but Yoshi is cool too. That's right. Yeah, we already have like that actual game, but yeah, I want Tetris Attack. Darn it. Or I'll just keep playing my Game Boy Color version of Pokemon Puzzle League on my analog, which is pretty fun too. Jamie H1224 says the correct but boring answers are either Mario RPG or Chrono Trigger, but one I put a lot of time into was the first Jurassic Park game. Don't think I ever completed it, but the first-person sections in the building were genuinely terrifying. Jeff, I know I played a lot more of the Genesis Jurassic Park game, which was an action 2D side-scroller. This was like a top-down game, which was also pretty neat. I think it didn't let you save or something weird, so it was weird because you had to beat it one sitting. But that's fixed easily with emulation now. So again, probably not going to happen because of licensing, but that would be a pretty cool one.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park game I played the most was the 3DO one, and I played it recently because my wife was terrified.
I played that one all the time.
Yeah, my wife was terrified of it because of the Velociraptor. He's like popping out behind you and stuff. So yeah, I love that.
I loved that game.
Yes,
I had that game and I loved it. I thought it was so futury.
Yep.
It's like I'm playing the movie. I need to play the weird Sega CD one that is a Myst clone, which like man, that sounds good. I want to try that. It's probably not good, but I want to try it. Mr. Bowler says it may be the obvious answer, but it's the best NES game. It's Chrono Trigger. A lot of Chrono Trigger, Jeff. Chrono Trigger might be the winner here.
Yeah, I think so.
Not shockingly, but hey. Turbo Manation says, I want the Quintet RPGs, Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and the name you don't say. Oh, yeah, I can say it. Terranigma. Got it. Yeah, those would be cool, especially Terranigma. I'm really testing myself because it's translated. It's in English. It came out in Europe. It just never got a release in the US. So, like, why not? Just put that on NSO and people would be very happy.
Yep.
That seems like a slam. If you even just had an update of just those 3 games, I think people would be pretty excited. I'd be excited. Those would be some of the best. Yeah, I'm shocked they don't. That seems like the biggest winner right there. Dr. Turbo says NBA Jam. I even modded my SNES Mini to get NBA Jam on it. Playing online with friends would be amazing. That would be cool, but again, there's so much licensing stuff there now. Velocity Prime 1 says, let's get some of those great 2-player games on there. Pocky and Rocky, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, and Metal Warriors, rocking it in the old school online. That new Rocky and Pocky actually just came out, Jeff. I need to try that.
Yeah, it's like is it a new one or is it like a remake or something?
I'm not entirely sure. My one older brother's friend had Rocky Pocky, and he would bring it with him whenever he came over, and like I would get so excited to play Rocky Pocky. They need to put Rocky and Pocky 2 on there just because that's an insanely expensive cartridge to get.
Yeah.
Just being able to play that would be super cool. Bench JC says, I'll be the basic bitch and say Final Fantasy 6. Do I even need to explain why? Did you see that Terra statue? That's like $15,000 or something.
Yes. What the hell? Yeah, it's really nuts. It's like a 1/6 scale, which I don't even know what that means.
Right.
Like 1/6 of what scale? Like a lifelike?
Of an actual robot, I suppose.
I guess. All right.
That's like assuming Terra's like 5'4", I guess.
Yeah. Right.
Man. Yeah. I don't know. It's a really cool statue. Although I'm so weird about Terra's hair being blonde because her hair is green in the sprites, and I'm like, her hair is green. And
3
I get
feet
very
tall,
upset.
says VJ incoming. Holy smokes.
Jesus shit. But I'm a hypocrite, Jeff, because if you ask me what color is Link's hair in Link to the Past, I'll say it's blonde. It's not actually pink.
Yeah.
But I get very upset about Terra's hair
You are
not
a
being
dirty
green.
hypocrite.
Well, it's like I don't. It's green. It looks good green. It makes sense.
I mean, I get what you mean, but you're still a hypocrite. It's disgusting.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's true. Kenoble says Super Mario RPG. Jesse says number 1, Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball. 2, Lester the Unlikely. Wow. And 3, Bay's Kids. These are like all just angry video game nerd games. Casual says Tetris Battle Guided. Man, this Tetris Battle Guided is a popular answer.
We should play it. We should find a way to play it.
Yeah. Crowboy says Lufia 2. Everyone always talks about Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 6, but Lufia 2 is my favorite SNES RPG.
Right.
Good characters, good combat, good story, great music. It also has a unique dungeon system where the enemies only move when you move, which can tie into the puzzles of the game. I've heard good things about it too, and I would like to check it out actually. So I'd be happy if Lufia 2 showed up there.
They move, I move, just like this. Sorry, Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott.
Shut up, Jeff. Cat Guy Neko says, after we finally got Earthbound, the only real big one I want is Super Mario RPG. The rest is gravy. Nintendo Bro says, I would love to see Uniracers get added, but Pixar. Yeah, is that actually still a problem? Would Pixar still actually care? Is there still...
They probably would, but the lawyers would probably just be like, don't even try. So that's probably enough to get it to not happen.
Yeah, that's too bad. I had Uniracers. That game was great, actually. And it runs really poorly in emulation also, right?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, some emulators are better than others for sure, but yeah, it's not great in most because it uses the Super FX2 chip and stuff.
Beef Hammer says Illusion of Gaia has never been re-released or been on a virtual console, so that is my pick. It's really good and deserves to be on NSO so others can give it a shot. Yeah, and I'm actually shocked that one's not already. That one has to be coming. Like, why the heck not? Like, out of all the things they could throw on there that aren't very exciting, Illusion of Gaia is like a game people know about. It's not one that particularly has any like difficult licensing or like difficult people to work with, as far as I know. So I don't know why that's not on there. Octo says, since Live a Live is already getting a remake, I'm going to be a hipster and say Ahatovo Monogatari, a strange Japan exclusive adventure game with killer box art and art house vibes out the wazoo. Fan-made English patch is available online. I haven't heard about this one, Jeff. Looks interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Pablo Cost says, it would be a licensing nightmare, but the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse comes to my mind. Yeah, that'd be great. Especially, there's a third Magical Quest game. I think it came out on the Super Famicom that we didn't get here. We got the second one. The second one is the circus one with Minnie in it also. But there's like one with Donald and Mickey. And no, not World of Illusion. It's a Magical Quest game. So that would be really cool. Low Rule says the only correct answer is Chrono Trigger. Man, no Chrono Trigger. Turbo Sean says, all right.
No, I just read ahead to this one. Brace yourself, Mike.
Oh, my God. All right, so you know how there's SP versions of games on NSO that alter them in some way? I want to see them go a step further and introduce a second Super Metroid SP that completely changes the physics it controls to bring them in line with some modern Metroid games. Seems to me like that would restore masterpiece status to a solid but now dated-feeling game that I have never said is bad. Don't misquote me, Gamers from Roddy. Thank you very much. Jeff, I will almost get people like having trouble with the controls. I'm fine with it. I played it. I get it. I have No idea what people are talking about with the physics. I have no idea what people are talking about with the physics. I don't understand what's wrong with them. It's floaty, but I don't understand why floaty is immediately bad.
It's not, because I like some floaty games and not others. It's not about floaty. It's about whether it's skill based or not, and it's just too skill based for these modern pampered little gamers like TurboShine, who I just timed out from chat there. So yeah,
that's a good
problem solved for the next 10 minutes.
That's a good
5 minutes.
Pitbull Jr. says Sanrio World Smash Ball. It's a mix of Windjammers and Breakout that I would love an easier way to play friends. Never heard of that one. That's interesting. Major Blazer said, excuse me, I grew up really only playing original Mega Man, so I'd really like it if my SNES app, exuded some Mega Man X vibes. That would also be a good one. I said before, Mega Man X1 needs to be on there, and I hope that's true. Ooh, The Longest Beard says, gotta be Dragon Quest V. It's a true classic, and currently the easiest legal way to play it is the mobile version, which actually isn't terrible, but this game deserves better. Yeah, Dragon Quest V is fantastic. If they could just kind of it'd be hard because it's been translated for other versions, but those have been remakes, so that translation may not like one-on-one go into the old Famicom version, Super Famicom version. I mean, if they do something new at Dragon Quest V, and that might be one that may also get a 2D HD thing at some point, it'll probably be a separate release and not just get thrown into NS. So, Turby Gigi 64 says the SNES library just doesn't seem complete without Capcom's Aladdin. See, you have to agree with me on at least this. Capcom's Aladdin for SNES is not nearly as important to that console as the Virgin Aladdin. I'm even saying the Virgin Aladdin game. You know what I mean, though? The Virgin made Aladdin game for the
as opposed to the Chad Aladdin game on the Super.
The Chad Aladdin, Virgin Aladdin. Not what I mean. You know, Virgin Interactive.
Why is that so funny? Yeah, I mean, you're right, but what does that have to do with the games? That just says the Genesis doesn't have a lot of great stuff. Absolutely.
Gosh. You know, you shut the hell up, you goddamn Nintendo fanboy. You're such a Nintendo fanboy. You're on a Nintendo podcast. Hosp says SimCity 2000 played the hell out of the PC version, so would be very intrigued to fire up the SNES version. Jeff, I never played the SimCity games on Super Nintendo because I just assumed they'd be bad, but you said good things about at least one of them.
You could sit down with the Super Nintendo SimCity. I never played SimCity 2000, although people swear by it, some people really like it. But I think you could sit down with SimCity, the first one on Super Nintendo today, and have a really good time with it. So yes.
Here's a good answer. Gerber says 4.6 billion year story, aka Evo Search for Eden. Look, I'm just going through the list of games on my legitimate Chinese handheld for something that hasn't been picked up, so here we are. The company image makes it seem like it's about a little green guy whose tallywhacker is just there for all to see. When the game starts, a blue-haired lady says something, and then you are playing as a fish with text squid that drop them some meat, and there's some sort of XP system. Feels like a 10 out of 10 game to me. So it seems like he picked this randomly, but this is actually a correct answer, Jeff.
Yes, it's a good game.
Evo Search for Eden is good. It's janky in some ways, but only because it is so incredibly ambitious.
Yes, ambitious for its time, ambitious for like 10 years later or whatever when Spore tried to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Spore, but only as a 2D action platformer. And it's a game you definitely almost want to play. It's some kind of like place where you can have save states because it can have some frustrating deaths. It's one of those games like when you get, there's like no invisibility frames after you get hit, so your life can just get depleted. But if you don't know, like you start this game as like a fish, and like depending on how you like eat the other animals, and then depending on how you choose to evolve your character and other choices, you evolve into different things as the story progresses and as you kind of jump through time. You can like do it so that you turn into a human by the end. You could just stay as like a kind of dinosaur creature. You can become a flying bird person by the end if you want to.
This really all sounds like the plot to Super Mario Brothers, the movie from 1993. Like
it's worth a play, and again, this absolutely should be on NSO. It's one of those quote unquote hidden gems, if you will. Dugan says, I would want everything that is currently on my crime-ridden mini SNES Classic. I cannot believe how easy it was to sideload games on a thing. It makes the drip feed from NSO that much more frustrating. Also, Mr. Do. Yeah, I tell you, if I was able to do it, it's pretty easy to do. Turbo Obama says, I don't think either of these could happen, but Ken Griffey Baseball, I feel like was iconic to the SNES, and the library would feel complete without it. Also, this won't happen, but Chrono Trigger, of course. Now, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball at least only had Ken Griffey Jr. in there. Like all the other players didn't have their name. So like, maybe not super impossible. I mean,
they could replace him with like Mr. Sandman from the Punch Out without Mike Tyson. Yeah, I think that game's actually really good. It's got a really neat style to it where like, yeah, because they didn't have the real players, they like made them like really cartoony and abstract and stuff. So I like that game a lot. I rented it a bunch of times and always had a really good time with it.
Secret of Evermore. It has some janky mechanics, but it holds up visually, and the story is pretty original. Yeah, actually, Secret of Evermore would be a good one. It's a game that I want to like more than I can sometimes because of that jank and because like sometimes you kind of lose direction. But it looks really cool. The story is a lot of fun. And it's basically kind of it doesn't have a relation to Secret of Mana, but it's has a lot of similarities. It's Square Enix, although it's one of their Western studios, but it still has that kind of charge attack system to it and everything. It's definitely worth trying out. I know some people can fall in love with this game, and maybe if I tried it one more time, I will get there. Certainly deserves to be on NSO though.
Yeah.
Colin says the random games at my grandma's house, specifically Total Carnage, because I could never get past the first stage as a kid. Now, is this different from Maximum Carnage, Jeff?
Yep.
What is Total Carnage?
I don't know what's. I feel like isn't that like a top-down shooter? Let me look it up.
That reminds me of supposedly the Total Lies game for SNES isn't bad. I heard that before.
Yeah, okay.
That's like just a top-down shooter.
Total Carnage. It looks like this is like it looks like a Smash TV successor. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, neat.
I mean, it looks really cool. Like like the art is bad, but the graphics are good. If that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean.
My God,
That's,
is that
like Dragon's Crown?
Okay, I don't know if this is real anymore actually because I have to. I'll share the picture, Mike. You can keep going once I can get it.
Okay, Jake Bogdanoff says Battletoads Double Dragons because for some reason I love that game. I like that game too, but that was at a time when crossovers were still this crazy thing to me. So the fact that the Battletoads and the Double Dragons were in a game together just blew my little mind. I did like that one a lot. God Rizlet just says Chrono Trigger, and Nick Turbo says a translation of Shin Megami Tensei If. It was the predecessor for Persona, and it is already on Super Famicom Online. That's right, it is. So yeah, that'd be awesome if they could translate that one. All those SMT games from the 16-bit era should be translated. The ones from the 8-bit era should. Although that's not SMT, that's just MT. That's just Megaten. It wasn't Shin yet. They hadn't gotten the Shin part figured out yet, Jeff.
So, okay, so it's a picture.
This.
Yeah, it's a picture.
I've seen this.
Okay. Total Carnage. It definitely looks like Smash TV. And then there's just a giant Hitler head, like with red and blue wires sticking out of it, connected to like the wall. Like he's controlling the entire, he's controlling the entire building with
now
just
Yeah, this looks like it must be from like the arcade version. This almost looks like too much for us.
Exactly. That must be what it is. So I said the art looks good, or the art looks bad, but the graphics look good. That's definitely what's happening.
This is Total Carnage. Well, I'm intrigued. I tell you what, you got my attention.
Yes.
Yeah, get that on there. Well, yeah, man, we got a lot of good answers on that one. I thought that was fun. So yes, next week, same question, but this time for the Genesis. So let's figure out what Sega Genesis.
Picks up Wolfenstein 3, exactly.
So figure out what Genesis game you won on there next. Then we'll do Nintendo 64 after that one. Jeff, before we get into the last super chats, I did beat 13 Sentinels last night.
Okay,
felt pretty good about myself.
So and this is why you were looking for other Vanillaware games on Switch, because you beat this one and you were
I beat this one. I was kind of like, man, I played Odin Sphere. I'd like to beat that, or maybe I'll play Dragon's Crown and kind of get over my aversion to the weird a body thing going on there.
By aversion, he means extreme horniness.
Wow. But yeah, none of those games are even on Switch. Because
all those games would be such a good fit on Switch.
Right, yeah. And it's funny how I just assume certain games are on there sometimes. And then they're not. Like, oh, I thought I would just be able to play this on my Switch. I guess I can.
So, Mike, did all the story, twists and turns get you? Do you understand why they're naked now?
Okay, so, I from the very beginning, I was like, I don't know why they're naked. The story gives a better explanation for it than I thought it would,
right.
But it's still ultimately they're naked because the game wants to be. There's even some plot holes I don't even want to say there with that. And even more so than them being naked, it's the way that some of the characters are framed with camera angles where their tits and ass are showing.
Right.
And again, they're
at
all
the same
16.
time. Yes.
But the game was very good. So the story is complicated and it's a lot, and there's a lot of twists and turns. But somehow it actually all makes sense and feels satisfying, right? Like that stuff usually can be a complete disaster. I can compare it to Lost, and Lost doesn't have the most satisfying sort of conclusion, probably because it feels like the whole thing wasn't there at the start, like it wasn't all quite figured out yet.
Actually, what happened with Lost is it was all from the start, and then everyone guessed it immediately, and they're like, "Oh shit, we got to make it more complicated than that," and then they got in their own heads. Yeah,
that's hilarious. But yeah, so this one, this game, the game kind of does let you sort of figure it out as you go along, and there are still some twists and whatnot, but it works pretty well as this fun sci-fi story. And then it's like kind of split between the visual novel / adventure game elements. Calling it adventure game is probably generous. There's like slight puzzle solving, if you want to call it that. It's more just like you have keywords and you use them on people, and then the story progresses. But it's not that much of a puzzle to figure out what to do. But just the nonlinear nature of the story and all the different point of view characters. And then, you have the tactical combat stuff, which is pretty satisfying. It just all worked really well. And look, the game looks really good. Vanillaware does really good stuff with their 2D art, as long as they're not kind of getting carried away with themselves. But yeah, as far as like Japanese RPGs on the Switch, definitely one of the better ones I played. I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I still could have. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm glad to hear you like that from other people I've heard play it. They really like it. They also say it's the kind of thing that only works really as a video game, and it sounds like that makes sense from what you played too.
Yeah, that's kind of that was the sort of thing I kept thinking the whole time, like this sort of really non-linear, weird mashup of different things somehow justifying themselves through video games, both in like meta ways and not meta ways. It all came together really well. It really is a good showpiece for the whole video game platform, right? And everything that means about. And some pretty creative, and it's not too often you play games you're like, oh, I've never seen that before. And there were moments like that in here. So
I need to play it?
No, you wouldn't like it.
Cool.
You might like the tactical stuff because it reminds you of some of the games you play, but it is most of the game, to be clear, is going through dialogue boxes, and you will not like that.
Yep, that is correct.
I don't know how you feel about naked 16-year-old girls. I don't know if you would like that part or not. But I
mean, when I was 16, I was fine with them. 39, and that's very bad.
yeah, no, it's weird. I still don't understand. Like, that's just the thing that, like, I hate it because it's like I want to talk about it, and there's some people who are like, oh, so now we, it's like. That becomes the whole conversation. It's like, oh, you don't like the game. And it's like, I do like the game, but we should be able to have conversations.
We can have two thoughts in our head.
Weird.
Yeah.
Like, even like the stuff that's not the underage, like the one character who just like looks like a Dragon's Crown character. Like she's the fan service character. Everyone's like, oh, that's the fan service character. It's like, why are there fan service characters?
I'd be like, we could chew bubble gum and think naked 16-year-olds are weird at the same time. Yeah. Like, I've done it.
It's weird because it's like in the beginning it was more weird, but then actually most of the stuff with like the characters and like the romance subplots is actually pretty cute and like charming and respectable.
It definitely seems like a game that understands its characters and like cares about them. And even when they do maybe design them as fan service stuff, like they actually care about their characters and want to make sure that they deliver on everything. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was good. And now I'm kind of like, when am I going to do this? I want to play Shining Force 2. So maybe I'll do that next. I don't know if I'm going to stream that or not. Part of me wants to stream it, but another part of me doesn't want to say I'm going to stream this RPG, because that means I'm going to have to, whenever I want to play it, it's like, all right, now I have to set up the stream. And usually I like to play those things in bed. I don't know. We'll see. But something's got to be next. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's going to probably be next. That's Splatoon 2 DLC, actually.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's actually, if that's in there, that's awesome. That's so cool. So yeah, I'm going to check that out too.
All right, Jeff, what have you been up to? Much? Anything?
I got that, let's see, what is it called? Arise. It just, Arise, A Simple Story, and I just downloaded it and started it. It's, I think it's a definitive edition. It just came out on Nintendo Switch. I think it looks very good. It's a good fit on Switch, but I haven't played enough of it to say much beyond that. It seems like a pretty short game, but I think it's short in a good way, sort of like a short hike, that sort of thing. So I think people should probably check it out. I'll probably have more to say about it once I finish it, because I'm going to play through it. But it just hit Switch. It seems very good. So it's Arise, A Simple Story. But beyond that, I took a break from Kirby to play some other stuff, mostly to beat Tunic. I did beat Tunic. It is the kind of thing where I got to a point where I was last time we were talking about it, where it was like, oh, there's this world that you go to, and you kind of lose all your upgrades. So you're kind of basic, and you have to like reclaim them and reclaim your body and all this stuff. and I lost my momentum then. And it's like, as part of that, there was this boss rush mode I think I had to beat. If there was a way around it, I couldn't find a way around it. And it was very difficult because the combat is kind of Souls-like. And I'm like, I'm just going to turn on the no-fail mode and do this so I could just beat this game. And I did that. And once I did that, it was almost like admitting, like, I just want this game to be over so I can get so I could be done with it. The first 2/3 of the game were very exciting to me. I wish it would have nailed the ending a little bit better.
It's always the bummer when like the ending is the thing that's like I remember thinking that Metal Gear Solid 5, where this game I like was absolutely loving that game. It was like becoming one of my favorite games ever, and then just like that last like fifth of it was so underwhelming that it just really ruins the whole thing almost in some weird way.
Yes, exactly. And it's like when in some games, like if it's a sandbox game, like I kind of it doesn't bother me as much, but a game like this where it's very much about kind of seeing what the world is going to give you next, when this is the next thing, that is a bummer. But now that I finished that, I'll be back to Kirby. I'll be beating that here pretty soon. I'll probably talk about that next week as we like finish up our thoughts on that game.
It's been a long episode for Nintendogs, Jeff. Why don't we read the last of these super chats here and we'll start wrapping up.
Please. Let's see. Jeremy G says Windows Central gonna get beefed at Halo.
Beefed. And cheesed.
Beefed and cheesed and cheddar armadas. From Jess Martinez, favorite item from Red Robin's. Love you guys. I like the bottomless garlic fries.
Oh, I was just gonna say fries. I didn't realize garlic fries were an option. I just like fries just shoving all that seasoned salt just all over the place.
Yes, absolutely. But I also like the whatever one has the fried egg on it. I've always loved that. It's very good. Let's see. And then the experience share wraps things up for us with I vote for Tetris Battle Gaiden, Terranigma, Macross Scrambled Valkyrie, and Violinist of Hamelin for Nintendo Switch Online, SNES / Super Famicom. I think I even know some of those games. So
yeah, man, Terranigma seems like such a good one to go with, or if not that, at least Illusion of Gaia, and then the other one whose name I always forget. ActRaiser would make sense. There's a lot of good answers. I liked Eve, Secret of Evermore. Gosh, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be on there still. Like they're pretty much caught up on first party stuff, except for Mario RPG. But then there's a lot of cool ones they can still do.
Yep. Yeah, I think with like Genesis, and as we get to N64 for this topic, there'll be some stuff that we could pull out because those seem to have quite a few big games missing. So that'll be fun.
Jeff, do you get nervous every time I say Terranigma?
Yes.
Like Dick Turbo does. You worried I'm gonna mess it up?
I don't think it's just Dick Turbo and me. I think everyone does. I think everyone's on edge. I think that's why people keep bringing it up. I get scared every time Mike says it.
I got it. I'm good.
Yeah. We should just call it Terra Caucasian from now on. That's probably right. Yep.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
All right, Mike. I can hit this button.
Hit it, you coward. Do it. Just do it.
Is that the right button? That's the wrong button.
You fool!
Shut up.
You fool!
Here it is.
There you go. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. You can find more of us on Friday at Games Beat Decides. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Koto. Check out my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. Jeff, what be up?
My kid says that we're going to go to McDonald's to go to get Happy Meals to get more toys and more toys and more toys and more toys. And that's exactly how she put it. So also Jeff Grubb on Twitter, Jeff Grubb on Twitch. Talking about Super Nintendo games, I've actually been watching a lot of Gaming Historian recently, not because I'm trying to win Jeopardy or anything.
Wow. The research. I gotta watch MVG because that's my weak spot.
Yes, apparently. And so there's a lot of like stuff that I'm like, oh, there's a lot of old games I just want to go play again or play for the first time. So I'm gonna stream some retro games here pretty soon. I'm looking forward to doing some of that.
Everyone's gonna be submitting more DLSS questions.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.
It's a blast.